You're listening to The Pete Sheppard Show.
It's good to be back.
They do a much better job of getting open.
Misses Halliburton the rebound. 9 seconds. They do have a timeout. Carlisle's going to let him play. Halliburton steps back and hits. Tyrese Halliburton trying to take Cleveland's heart. And it is over. The Indiana Pacers in a Game 2 stunner.
Oh, mama. Tyrese Halliburton, you idiot Cleveland fans, are not overrated. Stop it. Wow. 2-zip lead in the series. The Pacers won against where we got some breaking news right out of the gate. The Minnesota Timberwolves follow suit with everybody else in the second round and lose at home. Stanley Cup playoff action and lots more, baby. Good morning and welcome to the Pete Sheppard Show here on the Coastal Sports Network. Thanks for following me on Twitter, X at PShep326, and also on our Facebook page and the Coastal Sports Network Facebook page, my Facebook page, on YouTube, Rumble, Kick, LinkedIn, CSN Florida, of course, the app right there on CSN on SR 1029. The game absolutely unbelievable last night in Cleveland. Tyrese Halliburton makes a three with 1.1 seconds to go. The Pacers scored the final 8 points in 47.9 seconds, stunning the Cavaliers. And yeah, don't give me. I know Mobley wasn't there. I know Hunter, one of their top subs, didn't play. I get it. No. This is that's ridiculous. But to give credit to the Indiana Pacers, they take a 2-game-to-none series lead. More on that and a whole lot more coming up here. But we do actually have, believe it or not, we've got breaking news this morning here on the Pete Sheppard Show. Yes, Adam Sheppard reporting this moments before we get on the air. The Dallas Cowboys and Pittsburgh Steelers are working to finalize a deal that will send wide receiver George Pickens to the Cowboys in exchange for draft pick compensation. The trade expected to be finalized today. It's the second time in 6 months that the Cowboys have traded for a wide receiver. You might remember back in November, they acquired wide receiver Jonathan Mingo and a 2025 seventh rounder from the Carolina Panthers in exchange for a 2025 fourth round pick. And now the Cowboys are dealing for another receiver, George I am a diva Pickens, as most receivers are. But wow. So that's good news for DK Metcalf, for you fantasy football players. For the Steelers, just a question of who's going to throw him the ball. And we'll see. George Pickens in Dallas, and he could be a little feisty, very diva-esque. You know, he's a typical, really good wide receiver with an attitude sometimes. But we'll see how he fares in Dallas because there's a lot of divas in Dallas, and we'll see if Dak Prescott can rein him in, so to speak. But interesting trade. I don't know exactly. Adam Sheppard reporting what the draft compensation is going to be, but the trade we will find out. Expected to be finalized a little bit later today. So good morning again, everybody. Got that for breaking news. We'll recap all the both NBA and Stanley Cup playoff action from last night. All four really, really good games. This is one of the first years that the NBA on the whole is kind of keeping up with the NHL, the Stanley Cup playoffs, as far as excitement goes. Shaq and Chuck had a little wrestling match last night on TNT. We'll get to that as well. The Red Sox suck right now. They lose 6-1 last night. We'll have some highlights and lowlights of that one after about a 40-minute rain delay yesterday at Fenway. What else we got? Yes, we'll have an MLB rundown and interesting take on Shadur Sanders. Well, I'll get to Shadur Sanders. We're going to have a pretty good video for you on Travis Hunter with Jacksonville. Mia O'Brien is going to join us at 9:05 today via phone from 1010XL and Helmets and Heels. Before that at 8:30, it's Bill Sparrows from the Boston Herald and Bookies.com, the senior betting analyst there. And then Bill Burt, the Lawrence Eagle Tribune or the Eagle Tribune sportsman. And he will join us at 8 o'clock. Hopefully, he will not have any power surges like we did yesterday. So we rescheduled him for today. And then get this, Angel. I don't know if you saw this story. We welcome in Angel Martinez this morning. There is a fan out there in NFL land. He's only known as John Doe. He is suing the National Football League. This is not a joke. For $100 million due to the Shedeur Sanders draft slide and the emotional impact that it had on this man.
Are you kidding?
No. Get to that in a minute. Get to that in a minute. Anyway, good morning. How are you doing? We had thunder boom booms yesterday here in Fort Myers. Keep talking about how we needed the rain. We got a good half hour of thunderstorms yesterday that were not in the forecast. Luna, my little Scotty Terrier, got a little scared. But because she hadn't heard thunder and rain like that, and it was coming sideways. It was coming. You know, you've been to my house, so rain coming in sideways, hitting the storm door through the lanai and bad. That's how it was. It was like hurricane rain for about 10 minutes, and then it just kind of it evened out. But nevertheless, we had some thunder, we had some lightning, we had some rain, much needed because the backyard, as I said, is almost everybody's backyard down here in Southwest Florida is straw. And very dangerous. But we got some much-needed moisture. It looks like we're going to get some more today, but you got nada up there in Tampa.
No, we got nothing. We got it over the weekend. I think it was Sunday morning that we ended up getting it for a good little bit, which you're right, because everybody needs it. And especially those who don't live down here in Florida, we have a lot of what's called limestone roads. And so let me explain it real quick. It's when basically the sand is just placed on a road that futuristically wanted to be in there to build all kinds of houses around there, beautiful big homes, beautiful ranch homes, and then there's a bunch of sand. And then what happens is when it doesn't rain, the sand just, of course, goes up like big dust. So the good and bad. The good is you can get a good property. The bad is you got to deal with a lot of sandstorms until it downpours, and then eventually the stuff kind of goes away. But yeah, over the weekend we had it. Yesterday we had nothing. Inland you can see it, like Ocala, Orlando, those guys and girls got it. Apparently you did, but we get nothing. And I don't know if just because we are just 2 miles inlet from the Gulf of America, you got me one of the two, but for whatever reason, we didn't. So we started getting it right around the end of May into June. But even last year, we went into a major drought after the hurricane, after the second one. After that, we saw zero rain up until this past weekend.
It's all there, black and white, clear as crystal. You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
Exactly. You get no rain. No rain for you. Come back one year. Oh, man. More breaking from Adam about this trade between Pittsburgh and Dallas. It's expected to include a third-round pick and other pick swaps. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Let's see. He also says soon-to-be Cowboys wide receiver George Pickens heading into the last year of his contract and will want a new deal. His agent happens to be David Mulgeta, whose name Cowboy owner Jerry Jones said he did not know while talking about a new deal for Micah Parsons. It's another Mulgeta. Okay. So, as usual, Dallas, I don't know how this is going to work out. This could end up being a disaster, or it can end up being okay. I don't know. But third-round pick and other pick swaps, better be worth it. And what Jerry Jones says, doesn't know these agents. I don't know in this day and age how owners or GMs don't know who agents are, especially when you're about to sign big name players. Anyway, let's get right to it, shall we? Let's get to the NBA playoffs. We'll talk more NFL throughout the day as well. Stanley Cup playoffs, MLB rundown. Let's start with the game of the night last night in the NBA. And I want to see. Do I have it here? No, I'm going to play okay, here you go. Here is, you might have heard some of it in the open, but here it is, the unbelievable game between Indiana and Cleveland. Pacers scoring the final 8 points down the stretch in 47.9 seconds. Don't give me Mobley and Hunter not there. I get it. You had a 17-point lead to start the game in the first quarter. And you should have won this game. But I give Indiana all the credit in the world. But Tyrese Halliburton down the stretch, breaking the Cavs' hearts. I say breaking the Cavs' hearts.
To do a much better job of getting open.
Misses Halliburton the rebound. 9 seconds. They do have a timeout. Carlisle's going to let him play. Halliburton steps back and hits. Tyrese Halliburton trying to take Cleveland's heart. And it is over. The Indiana Pacers in a Game 2 stunner.
Unbelievable. I'm still in shock, partner. She misses his free throw, gets his own rebound, and then they get cross-matched here, and he's able to just create the space. Unreal. What a game, and how about Mr. Halliburton?
Tyrese Halliburton on a night that he injured his left wrist, etching his name into Pacers playoff lore with one of the all-time shots to give the Pacers a command lead in the series with the next two in Indianapolis. They were down 14 entering the fourth, and they come all the way back. For GA, for Jared, Spirodini saying good night from Cleveland.
It's all there, black and white, clear as crystal. You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
As the fans were chanting overrated for much of the game on Tyrese Halliburton, he had this to say after the game.
That one was unexpected. I didn't know we had beef, but yeah, I guess that, I mean, good for them, man. That came out of nowhere, but it's just, I think now that label's there, they're all, that's what it's going to be every time we play somebody. Every time on the road, he'll probably follow me until the next poll comes out, and then we'll see if I'm number one again. But, you know, for me, I just control what I can, man. Yeah, I mean, overrate that.
Overrate that. No question. So Indiana wins the game 120-119, and they'll play the next two in Indiana. Wow, this is going to be unbelievable. I mean, I thought it was going to go 7 anyway, but I didn't think it was going to go 7 like this. I really didn't. To lose 2 in a row at home, my God. That's why, and it's not just Cleveland. The 20-point leads in the NBA anymore are like 5-point leads. It's nothing, you know. And Cleveland against Miami, and it's still, you know, I'm listening this morning on ESPN, and they're still like, oh, you know, Cleveland, the way they dominated Miami. Well, God, of course they should have dominated Miami. I mean, anybody would have done that. Miami quit. I mean, you don't lose by 55 points by giving out effort. You know, they quit in that series. Memphis quit in their series with OKC, who also lost game 1 in their first round, in their second round matchup as well. But we will see. Let's move on. Golden State and Minnesota in this one. The Warriors win 99-88. The big story in this one, though, happened early in the game.
Not just the Warriors who played it well, but just zone defense a lot more prevalent in the NBA now as Curry converts the floater.
Well, Curry's hurt, though, Coach. Something grabbed him. He's asking for relief from that bench. I'm not sure what it was, but he came out of there hobbled. High off the window, no good. 10 in a row missed by Minnesota.
This Warrior defense has been good.
Curry's not right. Draymond Green fires up a three-pointer, hits another one. Draymond Green with 2 threes. And Chris Finch gets the timeout. This is a 14-0 run, but there is concern for Stephen Curry. After that little runner in the lane, which followed this three-pointer, Curry on his way to the locker room.
Yep, hurt his left hamstring, 13 points in 13 minutes. There's more.
Notice for the first time, that was after the three-pointer. He's grabbing at his left hamstring.
Now stay with it here. We'll try to give you as much as we can before play resumes, but it's obviously not comfortable. And then the Warriors get the ball back. This is all on tape. Gets the ball back. Curry, that little push shot. Immediately grabs at it again and immediately asks Steve Kerr for a replacement. And now, Coach.
Yeah, thanks to TNT with the call there, and more to the. And despite all that, the Minnesota Timberwolves really laid an egg last night. Embarrassing performance by Ant-Man, and he wants to be the guy. He wants to be the man. He's got to be step up and be a better leader. I'm sorry. I mean, he could have an off night, and he had no points or 1 point, 0 for 10 shooting to start the game. All that stuff in the first half, he had 1 point, and he fucking laid a big time egg last night, and the rest of the team did too. Edward Sprintis with 23 points, 14 boards, and 2 assists. But it just wasn't. You got to be more of a leader. This guy talks a lot of trash. He struts around stadiums. He does a lot of shit. But you got to back it up. You got to back it up. You're a great player, but you got to back it up. And this really annoyed me after the game last night. While he learned and horrified that the Wolves have shot 12 for 76 from 3 in the past 2 games, laughs it off with Julian Randle. Not a good look.
He's got the numbers that you guys going 12 for 76 over the last 2 games is the worst three-point shooting in the history of the NBA playoffs. And for a team that was 4th in three-point percentage and 5th, I think, three-pointers made.
How you laughing? How you laughing?
12 for 70, God damn.
How you laughing at that? How you laughing at that point? I don't get it. It's not funny. It's absolutely not funny. So Chef Ramsay would have thrown it on in the kitchen. It's not funny. To lose a game like that at home when Steph Curry doesn't play for the most of the, for a big chunk of that game, absolutely embarrassing. Thank God Chris Finch, head coach of the T-Wolves, really good coach, calls Ant-Man out.
And it starts with Anthony. I thought he struggled early, and then you could just kind of see the light go out a little bit for a while. And then, right. Obviously we had to try to get him going in the second half. But, I think, it was one of those games where he kind of came out with a predetermined mindset of what he was trying to do, and just rather than just playing the game that was in front of him. So.
You mentioned it kind of starts with Ant. Is that something maybe you mentioned kind of the energy, the spirit starts with Ant. Is that something that you and he talk about maybe ahead of game 2 now? Is
no, I mean, what is there to talk about? I mean, you're the leader of the team, and you got to come out and set the tone.
Mm-hmm.
In all ways that happens. And if your shot's not going, like you still have to carry the energy. So, I don't think there's. If I got to talk to guys about having the right energy coming into opening second round game, then, we're not on the same page. So
no question about it. Now, you watch tonight. You watch Jason Tatum tonight. I promise you, he's going to go off for 30. He will not shoot as many threes. He's going to take it to the hole. He's going to learn from, for him, a bad performance, mostly because of the turnovers. He had some good rebounds. He had enough points and enough rebounds, but the turnovers really cost him. You watch Jason Tatum. Very rarely, the Celtics don't lose back-to-back games, number one. And Jason Tatum, who's averaged about 30-plus points per game against the Knicks, he'll get that tonight. You watch how the Celtics come roaring back tonight. And the thing which we'll get to, Brian Windhorst had a great take yesterday. All the threes that they missed. The problem is, and he totally agrees, that the Knicks will not have, the Celtics will not have that same performance. There were 31 uncontested threes. So people are like, yeah, they threw up all these threes, and I get it. The 31 of them were uncontested. All they had to do was hit like 2 or 3 of those, which they didn't the other night, and they still would have won the game. Like I said, they can't play worse for them than they did on Monday night, and the Knicks can't play any better than they did. The game still went to overtime, and the Knicks won by 3. That won't happen tonight. But, Angel, if we could scroll down, continuing with what's going on here with Ant-Man, NBA on TNT. Chuck had thoughts about Ant's performance. This is right under Lucas Giolito. If you see it, NBA on TNT. It's a few down. And you said you wanted the smoke. That's the headline from Charles. No, you went way past it. You went way past it. Yeah, right there. You just went by Charles. Right there underneath that. There you go.
Too fast. Here we go.
But I was really impressed with Coach Finch in that press conference. Like, he called Anthony out. You know, when you're a great player, and first of all, you bought all this smoke. You said you wanted to smoke. You said you wanted to smoke. I want the Warriors. And you got him. And you had 1 point at halftime, and his energy level was down. So that, to me, is what coaching is about. I mean, Shaq's been in this situation. I've been in this situation. When you're the man, you get all the credit, but you get all the blame. That's the way it works. And I like what he did. He said, hey, Anthony's got to play better. You can't come out and talk all that noise and have 1 point, plain and simple. But I was really impressed with Coach.
No question about it. And Anthony Edwards was just wasn't good. He was moping around, letting. He says he played great defense after the game, which I mean he played okay defense, but overall just not a good game. And credit to the Warriors. Buddy Hield with 24, Jimmy Butler with 20, Hield with 24 and 8, Butler with 20 and 11, Green with 18 and 8. And they're all of those guys were making threes as well. And the Timberwolves, you just heard, are like, 12 of 76. But Julius Randle and Anthony Edwards think it's funny. You know, I don't get it. I really don't get it. Moving on back to, Moving on back to the Celtics yesterday. Brian Windhorst on NBA Live, I believe. Angel, if we could scroll down. Actually, you know what? Let's stick with this. More NBA on TNT. This is like 3 down. I want to do this in chronological order here. Shaq on Tyrese Halliburton. First of all, Tyrese is not an overrated player. It's like 3 down under the show.
Got it.
There you go.
First of all, Tyrese Halliburton is not an overrated player. He's a great player. He plays the right way. And all the kids out there, the ones that can't jump high, don't have the Steph Curry form, watch him and steal all that he does. He played the great game. I thought they came out happy, a little bit lackadaisical, but they turned on the set quarter. They kept fighting. And then when you keep it close and teams make crucial mistakes, you have opportunities to win. So they took advantage of the opportunity, and they won. But I would have loved to have been in the locker rooms. I was in a situation like that one time, and we were all happy, and Phil came and said, shut up. You don't deserve to win that game. We played, just to let you know, yeah, we won the game, but we didn't deserve to win that game. We didn't play the right way, but now that we won that game, forget that. Now we know we have to do it. Because, of course, when you have a guy that hits a shot, everybody's going to be happy, but they didn't deserve to win that game. Cleveland gave them that game, but they were up 0-2. Now you're going home to your crib, your routine. I'm thinking close this thing out. I'm not messing around with them. First of all, Tyrese Halliburton
nobody wants to mess around. I think it's going to be hard to win 4 straight. I think it's hard to win 4 straight against anybody.
Yep.
Even obviously the Celtics and the Knicks. And I thought they'd be a gentleman's sweep. I mean, I didn't think they'd win the first game, but they did. But I don't think that you're going to see the Celtics shoot the way they did anywhere close to that. They'll get back and get it done. But for the Cleveland Cavaliers, now it's basically must win. They got to win. I think they played either tomorrow night or Saturday. Or Friday, whatever it is, they need to win. You can't go down 3-0 at this stage in the NBA playoffs. It's just not doable. And so all the pressure is going to be on the Cavaliers, and we'll see if they get Mobley and Hunter back. Huge, but they didn't have him for this game, and they jumped out to a 17-point lead. They're up by 14 in the fourth quarter, and they're up by they let Indiana score the final 8 points of the game. So no one was talking about the injuries until after the game. Some, not everybody, but some. But this is not. If you're blaming that loss for the Cleveland Cavaliers on injuries, last night, no way. That's a game. They gave that away to the Indiana Pacers, and credit Indiana for making the shots when they needed to. All right, Angel, if we could scroll down just a couple from that, from Charles Barkley, said you wanted to smoke. And let's get to NBA on ESPN. Brian Windhorst yesterday said he does not believe the Knicks Game 1 performance is going to be repeatable. Do you see it, Angel? It's like it's
Yep, got it.
Okay.
Brian, do you believe that last night's performance by the Knicks is repeatable?
No. More, not so much what the Knicks did, but I know I'm in trouble now. I'm in trouble with all my Knick fan friends.
All you ESPN Knick idiots.
The Celtics missed 32 open, clean look 3-pointers. And I just don't think that's going to happen again. What I do think is repeatable, what the Knicks have shown they've been able to do for a while now, is win clutch time, because they have the best clutch time player in the NBA. So however they get to clutch time in any game in this series, whether it's by hook or by crook, by missed free throws, missed 3-pointers, whatever happens, that is what I think is repeatable. I think they can win clutch time. They've also proven that they can win on the road. They're 4-0 on the road in this postseason, 3-0 in the last series. They win in Boston in Game 1. I don't think they can count on the Celtics having historically bad volume shooting nights. So, but obviously, this is how the Knicks have to get through. They have to steal games here and there. They're 1 for 1 in that one.
Yep. Meanwhile, NBA's Brian Scalabrine, who does NBA radio, and he also is the color man on the NBC Sports Boston with Drew Carter. He reacted to the Celtics' performance and explained why we've seen this before. This was from the starting lineup.
I'm not going to sit here and argue what they did. Like, that was the worst display of basketball. You disrespect the game. Like, you're whatever your reasoning. People come to play, it's playoffs, whatever. If you don't want to play for yourself, if you don't want to play for your teammate, play for fans, play for whatever. Whatever they did, this is what they do. They've always done this. You can go back to when they didn't win a championship, and before when they had Marcus Smart, didn't have Drew Holiday and those guys, and no Porzingis. They did the same thing. Like, they just settle in and they take the path of least resistance. When you're that good and talented, you can always take the step back slide cha-cha 3, right? But that's just what they are.
Yeah, but it's not. They're not going to miss 32 uncontested threes. So there's a lot more scowl than just that. Yeah, they played the worst basketball they could play. The game still went to overtime. They lost by 3. It won't happen again. Will not happen again. All right, let's move on to the Stanley Cup playoff last night. 2 more great games. Washington and Carolina went to overtime. Here's a highlight starting in the second period. Sean McDonough, take it away.
Gostis fair. Off of Walker. Ricochets off Martinook into the corner. And the Caps finally cleared. Duhaime got it out. Now Protas has Dowd coming. Protas scores! Alexi Protas with the first goal of Game 1.
This is one of the things Protas has improved on so much. When the turnover is here, he uses his reach, but watch him skate away into space. Last year, a little clunky with his skating. He worked hard to get into better shape. Now he moves that huge frame up the ice. That wrister is perfect. 30 goals.
All right, was 1-0 Washington at that time in the second period. Let's head to the third period.
And the Capitals will change with 10.5 to go. Orlov. Hall got it in. Van Riemsdyk took it away. Dangerous play. Out in front, they score! Stan Colvin as they take advantage of a Washington turnover and tie the game at 1.
Shooter, he's a volume shooter. The turnover from Kotkaniemi, and in the NHL, that is all day to shoot the puck. Stan Colvin has enough time to get it, turn, square, and beat Thompson over the glove. As finally the Hurricanes break through.
That is Sean McDonough, Ray Ferraro with the call on ESPN. Meanwhile, we head to overtime.
He gets shoved from behind by Duhaime, but Jarvis kept the puck. Now Orlov around behind for Martinook. That one goes back to the point to Slavin. And they score! Jacob Slavin through a screen. Carolina wins Game 1 in overtime.
Of it is just off the ice, and that's where this puck slides through. Martinook to Slavin, and it goes right underneath near the toe of Logan Thompson. Watch where this puck goes. Right underneath where the pad bends, in the crook of the pad, Jacob Slavin, second of the playoffs.
Oh, my goodness, yeah. So 2-1 overtime win there on the road by the Carolina Hurricanes. We head out west. The Edmonton Oilers, doesn't matter if they're down 2-0 in series, they come back and win. It doesn't matter if they're down a couple of goals in the game, they come back and win.
Yep.
Well, guess what happened? Last night in that game, they were down once again at the end of the first period by a score of 2-1. They didn't score, and nobody scored in the second period. And then in the third period, here come the Oilers again.
As Saad tried to drag one through his skates. Klingberg snaps ahead. The drop by Nugent-Hopkins. It's to Hyman. Shoots. Score! Zach Hyman rips it home. Edmonton has the lead. Minute 50 to go. Racing the other way, Brown. He's in. Brown. Score! The insurance for the Oilers, courtesy of Connor Brown.
Oh, my goodness. Afterwards, Zach Hyman on the Oilers comeback win.
Zach, we appreciate the time. Boy, shots were hard to come by in that third period, and then you sneak one through. What was going through your mind when that pass hits your stick?
Just settled it. I thought I had time to pick a corner, and then obviously was able to get it there.
Give me an idea of down 2-0, 9 minutes in. I mean, this is not an ideal way to begin a playoff series. How does your team go about stabilizing and getting back in the game?
Well, unfortunately, we have a lot of experience with that, so we're comfortable being behind, even though we don't like to be. But I thought Picks just steadied us right from the net out, and then I thought we had a really strong second, and then obviously finished off in the third.
Well, let's talk about Calvin Pickard here. What stood out about how he played over those final 50 minutes of the game, Zach?
Yeah, again, we just kind of hung him out to dry for the first 10 minutes there, and then he reset us, made all the saves he needed to make, and obviously we were able to put some in the net and get the win.
5 straight wins now, Zach, after dropping the first 2 in the opening round series. What's kind of the magic around this team right now over this 5-game run?
Oh, we have belief, and I think we have incredible depth. I think all lines are contributing, and everybody feels like they have a role. Everybody feels important, and everybody is important on this team. So it's a great feeling, obviously.
All right, unbelievable. The Edmonton Oilers really, they're something. You never count them out for a series. You never count them out in a game. All right, quick break. When we come back at an MLB rundown, I'm going to tell you about this idiot who's suing the NFL for $100 million because he was upset that Shedeur Sanders slid in the draft so far. Wait to hear the details of that. Red Sox lowlights last night, and still the debate about what to do at first base, and a whole lot more. And also, obviously, the big news that came right before the top of the show, the Pittsburgh Steelers are trading wide receiver George Pickens to the Dallas Cowboys for at least a third-round pick and other draft pick compensation. Adam Schefter broke the story a little while ago. We'll have more details coming up for you as well. For the best articles in audio, there's only one source that provides everything you need. 365 days a year to satisfy your sports crave. It's Total Sports Prep. The staff combing through the best articles and audio so you don't have to. Sports and non-sports kicker stories will leave you laughing all day long. To get your free trial of Total Sports Prep, contact them, info@sportsbroadcastingcoach.com. That's info@sportsbroadcastingcoach.com. Total Sports Prep, the name says it all. Also, Phil Castanetti's Sports World in Saugus, Massachusetts is New England's place to buy or sell the finest in sports memorabilia. For over 35 years, Sports World has offered the finest in sports collectibles. So get on down there to Phil Castanetti Sports World in Saugus, 184 Broadway in Saugus, Mass. Call 781-233-7222. That's 781-233-7222 for more information. Sports World in Saugus. Be there. Quick break. Pete Sheppard Show continues on the Coastal Sports Network after this.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
Hey everybody, it's Pete Sheppard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft, implement, and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them, sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check out my friend Lou DiMuzio and Ace Technology Advisors.
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I gotta tell you, I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me.
Me too, but I'm glad we are.
Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and life experiences come together through conversation, and it feels good.
Wow, your story is so...
Interesting?
Yeah.
When people actually sit down, talk, and listen to one another, they can break down boundaries and connect as human beings. At lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep, you can listen to amazing, life-changing conversations and find simple tools to start a conversation of your own.
I know one thing. This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope, too.
Take a step toward bringing our country and your community together by having the courage to start a conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Whoa! Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie.
So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you.
The Pete Sheppard Show. It's fun for the whole family, if it's dysfunctional.
Exquisite find by Okoro, and Allen's got 22. Halliburton +1. How did he finish that shot?
Laboring just a little bit. Crowd doesn't like it, but there was some contact there, no question. What you're looking at, you can see how he gets knocked off his line.
Welcome back to Pete Sheppard Show here on the Coastal Sports Network. Tyrese Halliburton not only made that shot, which was clutch, he made another three-pointer with 1.1 seconds remaining. Pacers scored the final 8 points in 47.9 seconds to stun the Cleveland Cavaliers. They were a tad short-handed, yes. No Mobley, no Hunter, no excuses, though, at all. Absolutely. Scored 11 of his 29 points. Halliburton did in the final 12 minutes. He is not overrated. Welcome back to the Pete Sheppard Show here on the Coastal Sports Network. To call or text the show, 727-858-6650. Great show coming up for you today. Bill Burt at 8 o'clock. Barring any power outages like yesterday, he should be okay. From the Eagle Tribune, Bill Sparrows from the Boston Herald at 8:30, and Bookies.com, senior betting analyst there. Then Mia O'Brien, the lovely and talented, my favorite Sicilian Irish girl and reporter, coming up from 1010XL and Helmets and Heels, and one of the best NFL. She's not just a Jacksonville Jaguar. She's like an NFL insider. She follows everything. There's a lot of stuff, good stuff about Travis Hunter, and a lot of buzz going on up in the Duval area. I don't care if I said it right or not.
What? You don't want to say it like Coach Duval.
Welcome back to CMAX Late Night in Duval. Sounds like a stripper's name. All right. Before we get into what this fan is suing the NFL, there's some interesting stuff. By the way, the injury report is out for tomorrow. Sam Hauser is doubtful with a right ankle sprain. He did not play well the other night for the Celtics. And Kristaps Porzingis looks like he's going to be able to go. He had an illness of some sort, and it looks like he's going to be able to play. So, no, that's tonight, I mean. So no doubt about that. The big story, one of the big stories at the top of the hour, Adam Schefter broke the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Dallas Cowboys looking to trade. George Pickens going to go to Dallas for at least a third-round pick and other pick swaps as well. So that has been huge. And the Cowboys have traded for a couple of wide receivers now the last 6 months. We will see how that goes. Before we get into this idiot trying to sue the NFL, let's scroll down a little bit. Then I'm going to do an MLB a rundown as well. Got to scroll down it's a little ways down. NBA on TNT headline: Shaq and Chuck wrestling match. Wait till you see this. The fellas felt inspired because John Cena was in the building as well. So here's last night. More shenanigans. I don't think anybody got hurt.
Do you like wrestling?
I love it. Yes.
Me too.
Hey. We're going down. Hold on a second. We're going down. We're going down. We're going down.
Are you going to intervene here? Not to mess with a good thing.
No. Wait. So 1, 2, 3. That's it.
I had my leg up. Oh, I got to get my shoulder up. My bad. I got to get my shoulder up, not my leg up. Helmets everywhere. Cats and dogs living together. Mass hysteria. Did we just have an impromptu match on a basketball court?
Yes, we did.
Do you like wrestling?
I love it. Yes.
Me too. Charles lifts his leg and not like a dog, and not his arm.
Yeah,
trying to get his shoulder off this mat. Anyway, we got so ridiculous. All right, so an NFL fan is suing the NFL for $100 million over Shedeur Sanders' draft slide, citing emotional distress and trauma. So here are the details. We all know by now he fell to the 5th round, the number 144 overall pick. So it surprised a lot of people, so much so that this NFL fan is suing the NFL for $100 million in punitive damages for the harm caused to the plaintiff and the impact of the NFL's actions on his emotional well-being, according to documents obtained by MSNBC. In the lawsuit, John Doe says he is a dedicated fan of the Colorado Buffaloes and that he closely followed Sanders over the past 2 college football seasons. The plaintiff claims that the reports and leaked statements suggest that Sanders tanked interviews, wasn't prepared, and was too cocky. And the pre-draft process helped create a narrative that unjustly harmed his reputation. These slanderous statements caused emotional distress and trauma to the plaintiff as a fan and customer. I wonder if Dion filed this. The plaintiff alleged several claims against the NFL. The violation of the Sherman Antitrust Act, which is a collusion among NFL teams. Violation of the Civil Rights Act, intentional infliction of emotional distress and trauma, and violations of consumer protection laws. In addition to $100 million, the plaintiff Angel requests. I am not making this up.
All right.
I want to know who the attorney who took this case is. So, in addition to the $100 million, the plaintiff, John Doe, requests this. 1, a formal acknowledgement from the NFL regarding the emotional distress caused by their actions and statements. All right, I can say that after every officiated game every week. 2, a retraction of the slanderous statements made about Shedeur Sanders, along with an apology for any harm caused to his reputation. I don't remember the NFL making slander. They're talking about reporters and talk show hosts.
Right.
Bad. 3, implementation of fairer practices in the drafting process to ensure that talented players are recognized and given opportunities based on merit. You nuts? And number 4, any additional remedies the court deems appropriate, including compensatory damages.
Boy.
I think my favorite one is implementation of fairer practices in the drafting process to ensure that talented players are recognized and given opportunities based on merit. Whose merit? Who? That's very subjective. So I don't know the attorney who took this case, but you're wasting everybody's time and a lot of taxpayers' money if this even gets to court.
Does he even say how much?
Summary judgment, it'll get thrown out. I can't believe this is even going to even remotely hit.
Does he say how much?
He put the what?
Does he state how much he's looking for? He or she?
$100 million.
$100 million.
He's suing the NFL for $100 million.
Okay.
Yeah. All sorts of drama. All sorts of drama. Oh, the humanity. Oh, the humanity.
No, not for nothing. Shedeur did it to himself. You can. People can blame while they want to, point fingers, this, that, and another. He did it to himself. And until he learns how to act accordingly, and I don't want people to take that any out of context whatsoever. But when you go for an interview, that's like anywhere. Anywhere you go for an interview, it's usually the same generic questions. But you handle yourself as a professional. You don't go in there and telling a CEO of Starbucks, I'm sorry, you're the CEO. Yeah, no, I'm the CEO. I'm going to tell you how you're going to run Starbucks. So that was all in Shedeur. But this guy, $100 million, good luck, buddy.
No, but I mean, you heard Tom Brady get on Shedeur is like, stop worrying about buying cars and get in the film room. I mean, that's what, and Dion agreed. I mean, that's what it's all about. And he's still going to have, I think he's going to be the starter for Cleveland anyway to start the season just by process of elimination. It's not going to be Flacco. It's not going to be Pickens. It's not going to be Deshaun Watson. So it's not going to be Dylan Gabriel. So he'll have a great shot to become the starter, and then we'll see. Like I said, I'd love to see him take on the Steelers in the opening week somewhere.
But that's fine too. But the problem is that if Dion should have known. Listen, when Dion came up through the league and through college, it was a whole different story when he came up through there. Now, as the NFL is trying to clean up their act a little bit here, it's the same way. Like, you should have known to set up your son. If you really believe in him that much for success, you set him up to set up the proper way. But Dion, to me, was like, no, let him showboat. Let him try and be mini-me. How did it work out for you? Not too well.
No, he should have hired him. Well, it's going to work out for him fine because he's already he's going to make a lot of money. He's got a lot of endorsements. He just needs to, if his head is on straight and he gets into the film room and, he'll be he has a chance to be a really good player. But so far, nothing. He hasn't proven anything yet. But I still believe that he will be the starter for the Browns when it's all said and done. But they should have hired. The worst thing Dion didn't do is hire him an agent right out of the gate. All right. Let's get to an MLB rundown here, shall we? The San Francisco 49ers, the Giants, and the Chicago Cubs. An interesting game last night.
Hits that one high and deep to right field. Tucker watches, gone! Into the bleachers, Jung-Hoo Lee. Welcome to Wrigley. His 4th home run of the season. And the Giants have a 4-0 lead.
He has such a pretty left-handed swing, and when he hits it that good, Tucker just gave it a courtesy jog, but there was no doubt about that one.
I can hear my mother saying, hit it that well, not hit it that good. Meanwhile, that was 4-0 lead, but not good enough. Here come the Cubbies in the bottom of the 9th.
The pitch. Up the middle, base hit, and we are tied. Tucker, just like that, delivers 5-5.
Birds fly, fish swim. Kyle Tucker hits, wasting no time. First pitch fastball, 107 miles an hour.
Yep, thanks to the Marquee Network there. So we are tied at 5, right? We head to the top of the 11th inning.
Bats tonight. He lines that one into center field, and it gets down, base hit. Goss scores. Crow Armstrong, wild throw, but Kelly comes up with it. 6-5 Giants. Patrick Bailey with a big hit. Still nobody out.
And man, you love to see it.
Well, again, thanks right there to NBC Sports Bay Area. The Giants went up 6-5 there in the top of the 11th inning. They scored 9 runs in the 11th inning. 9 runs in the 11th inning. They win 14-5. So absolutely unbelievable. Kansas City and the White Sox in a nail-biter.
Bobby Witt Jr. with a chance to win it. Bases loaded, 1 out.
Yeah, sure enough, he wants a pop-up out of Jr., but Bobby wants to drive one through. Hit one to left field.
In the air, center field. And it will drop, so it'll be a long walk-off RBI single for Bobby Witt Jr. And the Chicago White Sox, who played great defense for 8 innings, fall apart.
Yep. Final there, 4-3. Kansas City wins. Washington and Cleveland played a doubleheader. They split it. Washington won the opener 10-9. Cleveland won the nightcap 9-1. Yankees and San Diego yesterday in the Bronx.
Runners go. Drill deep to right field. There it goes. See ya. A grand slam. The Yankees lead 12-3.
All right, Yankees win 12-3. That is a final. Aaron Judge had a solo homer back in the 4th inning at the time, too, that had the Yankees up. That made it 2-1 San Diego at the time, but the Yankees come back and win that one easily. Milwaukee and Houston in a nail-biter as well.
Big spot here if Rogers can bring home the first run of the game. Astros have only 7 outs to work with. This ball hit deep to right field, all the way back, and there's the first home run of his Astros career in one spot. 2 out, 3-run jack for Brendan Rodgers, and the Astros within 1.
B-Raj with a B-arm.
Oh, come on.
Milwaukee ends up winning the game, though, 4-3. Earlier, Jake Bowers had a 2-run shot in the bottom of the first that put the Brewers up 4-0. St. Louis over Pittsburgh 2-1. There's also Paul Skeens highlights here, but a losing effort.
Paul Skeens, start number 8. He's 10th in the league in ERA, 274.
And still holding opponents to an average under 200. Still got the good strikeout total, 41.
Now that's Splinker there, if that's what that was. I don't know if it's a changeup or a Splinker, but he good.
Anyway, he only went 6 innings, and he pitched pretty well, but he's, I think, 0-3 in his career now against the St. Louis Cardinals. St. Louis wins by a score of 2-1. Arizona and the Mets win at it as well.
Gurriel lines it to left field, and it's gone. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. makes it 4-1 Diamondbacks. Another line drive off the bat of Lourdes.
You watch a player like Lourdes Gurriel who went through some real tough times. He was having trouble putting the ball in play with authority, and with a lot of hard work, a lot of extra batting practice, and a couple of those, he's got his confidence back. He's swinging it well.
Arizona was on to win 5-1 thanks to Arida network there. Seattle over the A's 5-3. Miami and the Dodgers head to extra innings.
1-0 into center field. A base hit for Jesus Sanchez, and the Marlins walk off the Dodgers.
This ball stung, finds a hole. He didn't go to the right side. There were 3 guys on the right side. Great at bats, some really good at bats. Ramirez, now Sanchez. There's that base hit, a game winner for Jesus Sanchez.
It's a gutsy, resilient effort by the Marlins here tonight.
Now let's move on to my Red Sox. The final score, Miami 5, Dodgers 4-10. Thanks there to the FanDuel Sports Network. Meanwhile, at Fenway Park last night, after about 45-minute rain delay, it seemed. Anyway, the Red Sox could not get it going, but Texas did.
The outfield. I'm going to guess the infield, but I could be wrong. This one hit into center field. That's a base hit for Smith. It gets Carter to the plate. Heim will stop at third. RBI single by Josh Smith. It's a 4-run for.
Yep, just an awful performance. Red Sox not playing good ball lately. Nathan Eovaldi, their former guy. Why can't we get players like that? Struck out 7 over 6 strong. Texas had 16 hits in their first game since adding Brett Boone as a hitting coach, and the Rangers beat the Red Sox, as I said, 6-1. Giolito pitched last night for the Red Sox and did not do very well in his second outing. 3 2/3, 10 hits, 6 earned runs, walked 1 and struck out 2. And Angel, if we could scroll down a little bit on my Facebook page, and you will hear his post-game comments from Nesson. Headline, "It was terrible."
Oh, hang on.
It's just a few down. Another Nesson, "It was terrible." Ready, screen freeze?
No, I got to look for your. I don't have your Facebook page set up here, so let me hang on.
My Facebook page, it's on Twitter.
You said Facebook.
No, I didn't.
Wait a minute.
Just under Nesson. "It was terrible" is the headline. It's right under that. Pretty much right under that. There you go.
Here.
Yep.
My goodness. Time to clear my ears.
That's all right. We got it.
How do you kind of assess that start, Lucas?
It was terrible. I mean, I gave up like a bunch of base hits in a row. It's not doing my job.
How do you feel like you had full command of all your pitches tonight?
Didn't have command. That was probably what did me in. I mean, threw one slider, bounced it, led to scoring a run, and we kind of shied away from it. Fastball changeup approach, but unlike last outing, I didn't have like the same juice behind it. I didn't have command either. Yanking a lot of pitches across, leaving a lot of pitches middle. Those are the ones that they didn't let me get away with mistakes.
You slipped at one point during warm-ups, and during some of the struggles, the rain was coming down really hard. Was it like a little too much to play through or pitch through?
No, I've pitched in rain games before, like way worse than that actually. I actually thought I pitched better when it was raining harder. Once it let up, that's the fourth inning really did me in.
After last week in Toronto, when you had such a sharp debut, it's kind of frustrating just to kind of seemingly take a step back in a way, just kind of feeling like you didn't have the best stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, I wanted to keep building off of last week, but yeah, in a sense, it was a step back and just inability to control where the ball was going and have that good command.
That's good enough. Yeah. Giolito, not a good outing last night. As I said, 10 hits in 3 2/3. He looked okay in his first start back 5 days ago, but this was terrible last night. Red Sox not playing good baseball. Just real quick before Bill Burt joins us, the rest of the Major League scores from last night. Minnesota beat Baltimore 9-1. LA over Toronto 8-3. Philadelphia doubled up Tampa Bay 8-4. Detroit and Colorado had bad weather, so they got postponed. But just like that, we're going to try this again today. We welcome in Bill Burt from the Eagle Tribune here on the Pete Sheppard Show on the Coastal Sports Network. How long before your power came back yesterday, Bill?
Well, it was just a surge, and it came right back, but I lost everything on my computer. I couldn't get back on. And then when I connected to my computer, I don't know. I don't know the settings with voice. I couldn't figure it out. So I heard you guys talking to me. I was trying to give sign language. You weren't good at understanding my sign language. So
well, I mean, I could hear you. I could see you. I mean, I couldn't hear you. I couldn't hear you. So yes.
All good though. Just get ready. I'm heading into Boston in a couple hours for Game 2. Look at the NBA right now. I think the home team in this second series,
all 4 home teams have lost. All 4.
0-5. They're 0-5, and now with tonight is obviously the Celtics have to win. They can't lose tonight. Now I expect them to win. I expect them to play better. Tatum was not good. Brown was not good. Derek White was not good. Porzingis was not good. He's, we'll find out more about him today.
Yeah, but the thing with that, Bill, is they can't play any worse. The game still went to overtime, and Knicks can't play any better. So, look, they missed 32 uncontested threes. Uncontested. All they had to do was make a couple of those, and they would have won the game.
I agree, Pete.
I am not worried about this team in the least bit. Porzingis is coming back tonight. I just saw the injury report come out. Yep. I ain't worried about it. Tatum's going to go off for 30-plus against the Knicks like he always does, and we'll move on to New York. For game 3 on Saturday.
You just said it. New York's the issue. Now, the Celtics did have the best record in the league on the road. I think 30, 33, and 9 or 8 or whatever.
They can play in that building. That's never
bothers them. They're a little different, and I would say this is not Cleveland or Indiana. The fans there in New York are desperate, and they've sort of embraced this team. Tom Thibodeau, they've embraced in Jalen Brunson. So my point is, Celtics, obviously, I expect them to win tonight. I expect them to play a lot better. I want to see Tatum get going with this shot. We still, Orlando, we had one game where I think he shot better than 50% because they're going to need Tatum to be an MVP Tatum to win the championship this year. But that being said, let's stick with the Knicks. The Knicks they're a tough team. And they're just like their head coach. And I just think the 2 games in New York are going to be very difficult. And so they're not going to be 30-point blowouts. I don't care what how many wide open threes they miss. That's not happening in New York. That's going to be a war. And the fans there, after the 4 games, I'll know. If the Celtics are up 3-1, which means they win tonight, they win both in New York, it's over in 5. But I don't think so. I think this is going to go 6. And I just think the Celtics, to do what they did in Game 1 of a series, you do that after blowing the Knicks out by 30. That's different. I'm just a little concerned about the Celtics not winning the series. Just I didn't like what I saw in Game 1, and
tonight, I mean, nobody did. But like I said, I think they're the best team in the NBA. They're the deepest team in the NBA by a lot. I don't care what anybody says. Mm-hmm. They are deeper than anybody in the NBA. They played like caca for a big chunk of that game. They still almost won it. They still almost won it in the end. That's how good they are. They can play like poo-poo for a big chunk of the game. You don't want to see it, but it happens. Look at the fucking Cavaliers. They can't get out of their own way. And don't give me that Mobley and Hunter didn't play. I don't care. You talk about pissing a game away for the alleged best team in the NBA. Stop it. I mean, I have full confidence in the Celtics. They are going to come back. And I do think they're going to win it in 5. I don't know about the Cavaliers right now. I don't know what's going on with them. To give up the last 9 points with 47.9 seconds to go, unbelievable. Fans stupidly saying about Halliburton being overrated. It's so ridiculous. They obviously haven't seen him play.
Yeah,
Pete, you're talking about a team in trouble. The Cavaliers are in trouble.
Indiana's not losing that series now. They're a good team. They're a good team.
We know that. You and I know that, but they don't get talked about enough because they would rather, the national media, especially the idiots at ESPN, would rather talk about the Lakers and their woes as opposed to focusing on and talking about teams like the Celtics and the Indiana Pacers, because they don't have the idiots who yap all the time. They don't have the Anthony Edwards who laid an egg last night for his team at home after Curry went down. There's so many things, but the ESPN people would rather, why aren't the Lakers going to, why? Because they think that crap moves the needle. You should hear the national shows, which I have to listen to down here on the radio. I don't listen to them a lot, but I'm in the car. It would make you throw up, Bill. It would make you throw up.
Yeah,
the amount of liquor. That's because they're not prepared enough. They don't watch this league. And I heard a producer say, well, somebody from Indiana was calling and saying why we don't talk about them enough. Well, it's just like, it's lazy. It's just pure laziness journalistically and sports talk showy on a lot of these national shows. The Indiana Pacers are a damn good basketball team. The Minnesota Timberwolves were a damn good basketball team. They just didn't show it last night.
Yeah, well, Golden State's scary right now. I gotta give props to them. I did not believe this was going to happen, but Curry gets 13 last night, and they
And
control.
13 minutes,
They were in
he's out,
control.
but he may be out for who knows how long he may be out.
Yeah, I'm very. The NBA is interesting, and because it looked like there were three teams, and those three teams right now are other than the Celtics, but the other. I mean, I got to be honest. Very OKC. That was a dreadful loss for them. That was worse than what happened to the Celtics.
And they've all had big double-digit leads. I mean, you saw Cleveland last night was up by 17 after one. They're in the fourth quarter, up by 14. They're up by 8 with 47.9 to go and lose. Same thing with OKC, big lead, 20-point leads. That means nothing anymore in the NBA. It doesn't mean
what it
a
used to
5-point
mean.
lead. Yeah,
you're right. And so, look, Pete, back to the Celtics. I think what I want to see from the Celtics is just sort of connected. That word that, and it's the word a lot of people, the basketball people talk about with the Celtics. They're just connected on both ends of the floor, making plays, block shots, fast breaks, moving the ball, and not just that umbrella that they do when they set up their 3-point, but drive, pass, and then shoot. And we didn't see that the other night. And
we didn't.
It turns into hero ball. And look, nobody played well. Nobody played well. And look, we want to talk concern. Pritchard didn't have a great series against Orlando. I think they focused on not letting him. And I think he ended up 14 points, but not really a factor. And Al Horford.
Let me tell you the difference, though, Bill. This is the thing. Orlando did not allow 32 uncontested threes. They were much better defensively against the Celtics. The Knicks got, I'm not going to say they got lucky because they deserved it, but 32 uncontested threes. All the Celtics had to do was hit a couple of those. And we're sitting here, we're sitting here saying, well, that's the worst they can play. They won, but obviously they can play better. I'm saying the same thing now. It's just, I agree with you completely, though. Tatum, I think you'll see him take the ball to the hoop tonight. I think the leadership ability, him and Jalen will come through. I do think he's going to put up 30-plus tonight against them, and I think it's going to be a much different scenario here, and then just build on that. And then Joe Mazzulla, too, probably should have called a timeout at the end of the game the other night as well.
Right.
And that's the first kind of coaching faux pas for him that I can remember in a little bit here, because he's learned so much about how to use timeouts and player rotation and all that stuff.
Yeah,
so
he's a very good coach.
Porzingis going to be back. Hauser's the only one that's going to be out.
Yeah, so Mazzulla, I can't, the only thing I would say is the way they opened the second half, and I think, Pete, the number was, they took 20 shots in the third quarter, 19 of them were threes.
Yeah.
You're up 20 points. You're up 18 points. No, just win the game. Go back to what Bill Parcells would say. No, forget about your offense. Forget about I throw the ball. That's our mentality. No, your mentality is win the freaking game.
Yep.
And that's the only problem I had with Joe Mazzulla. I think they're going to play better. Look, what impressed me about the Orlando series was they stuck to their guns. They took the ball to the basket. They got to the foul line. They won ugly. And you know what? Sometimes you got to win ugly in the playoffs. You play against a Miami, a good Miami Heat team. That's how you're going to have to win. So that prepared them. I think, for what's going to happen ahead, the Orlando series. I just very disappointing the way I don't want to harp on it per se, but first game of a series, you send a message, and it looked like it was.
You're up
Second
20.
quarter,
You're up 20 up by 16 in the first half, and you think they're going to win by 50. You think they're
I
going
just said
to quit, but
I
they
was
didn't.
impressed. I just said this pace of the game is the Celtics' pace. They're going to blow this team out, and then they just methodically let him in. I mean, look, Karl Anthony Towns didn't do anything. He scored 13, 14 points, just played 23 minutes.
Yeah, 13
he
rebounds.
did absolutely nothing, and they won. So that's a little.
Yeah, but he had 13 rebounds too.
He did, but
because
he
of all
was
the
on the
missed
bench
threes.
for that whole run. In fact, Brunson was too. So look, I don't want to overreact on games, but I just think the Celtics. This is a big week for them. They can go if they can win tonight and win both in New York. In my opinion, they're not losing the NBA Finals. And you say the Knicks. Who cares? You win two. No, you win 2 games in New York. Because that fan base is going to be electric. Those are the games I can't wait for on Friday and Saturday and Monday.
They thrive on that. They thrive on that. For the
Hey,
Celtics.
look,
Are you going up? Are you
desperate.
going to Madison Square Garden? Are you going to make the trek
I
up?
may get down. So I may get down for Saturday, and so we'll see. I'm going to figure that out this week. We got some Red Sox stuff going on too. I got to figure that out as well. So
we'll get to that. And all right, let's get off the NBA for a second. I wanted to ask you the breaking news this morning in the NFL. I wanted to get your thoughts right before I came on the air, which I love finally, because usually sports stories break after I'm done at 9:30, 10 o'clock. But the Cowboys and the Pittsburgh Steelers finalizing a deal, going to be done today. Wide receiver George Pickens going to Dallas in exchange for draft pick compensation. We already know, reportedly Adams says one of them is going to be at least a 3rd-round pick. Second time in 6 months that the Cowboys are trading for a wide receiver. They got Jonathan Mingo on a 2025 7th-round pick from Carolina in November. I don't know. This could either be.
It doesn't move the needle for me.
You know what Pickens is like as a diva. I don't know him and Dak Prescott. He's not. Pickens isn't AB, but he has AB qualities in him, both good and bad.
Yeah, look, he's very good. He's very talented. I mean, look. Let's be honest. The Steelers, unlike the Patriots. And I'm not saying the Steelers have won Super Bowls, but they've drafted that position very well. Now, most of them have been divas, and I guess all good wide receivers are divas. I'm still trying to figure out the Cowboys. I know
everybody is.
Well, it's they're stuck in that 12-5. We're a pretty good team, but there's 4 teams in our conference that are better than us, and I don't see this changing. I know they get a couple big free agents.
But wait a second. There's 2 teams in the division that are better than them. The Eagles, the defending Super Bowl champion, and Washington. So I don't think they're a 12-5 team right now. I think they still could be a playoff team, but I think 12 wins are going to be very difficult.
Maybe 11-6. But that's who they are. My point is they're not an elite team. And Dak Prescott, I keep. You know what happens during the offseason? All of a sudden, stats are thrown at you, and Dak Prescott has the most passes per yards per pass. I don't even know what some of the stuff means. No, the Cowboys are above average, and that's all they've ever been with the owner as the general manager, and he's still the general manager, which is remarkable and
ridiculous
and ludicrous, to be honest with you. So Pete, that move doesn't move the needle at all. I think Pittsburgh is a separate issue. I think they're gonna sign Aaron Rodgers. I think it's probably a done deal. I think they've probably known this the whole time, probably working out contract stuff. And then they wanted to make sure that they didn't draft anyone. So now obviously they don't have a quarterback, so they need a quarterback. So Aaron Rodgers is the guy. Now he's got DK Metcalf, and I'll take DK over Pickens. So if there was a trade there, they got the better guy.
If you're doing an early fantasy football draft, I would draft DK Metcalf.
Absolutely.
Sooner rather than later. So final details, it looks like from Adam Schefter about 30 seconds ago. Steelers get a 2026 3rd-round pick and a 2027 5th-round pick. The Cowboys get wide receiver George Pickens and a 2026 6th-round pick.
Big deal.
I know.
What that tells you is Pittsburgh wanted to get rid of Pickens. Because he's a quote unquote first WR1.
Pittsburgh want to get rid of Pickens, or did Aaron Rodgers Jedi mind trick into them saying, I don't want him on this team? Which I would find hard to believe in that organization. The Jets, yes, but not this organization.
No, because look, Tomlin's had problems with Pickens for 3 years, so this is this isn't the first. This is not a surprise. Let's be honest, it's not a surprise. And they didn't get a first round pick for him, so no, this is not, or a second, a third, and a seven. Who cares? A non-factor.
All right. Quickly before we get to the Red Sox, Julian Edelman elected to the Patriots Hall of Fame, which is a good thing. You are a big part of that committee,
Pete. So it's funny. We were talking about that, and it was brought up by a couple of people that the fear was that everyone believes Adam. If you ask like everyone in that room, I'm guessing 90% of the people said I'm taking Adam Vinatieri. But the fear was, and it was brought up, that because Edelman's on the list, the recency bias, all the young kids, everyone 25 years old who doesn't remember Adam Vinatieri's run, but obviously knows about Edelman's run. They're all going to take. They're going to pick Edelman, and I understand that, but Julian Edelman deserves to be in as much as Vinatieri does. Now, I told everyone, I made my spiel, Vinatieri, but I understand I can understand an argument for Edelman. So it didn't upset me. It upset people that this was going to happen. A lot of people predicted Edelman's going to get in.
Well, tell people again that don't, because they're all going to get in eventually, but there's only so many you can bring in at a time, right?
And it's tough. It's one per year. And next year, the problem is next year Gronk's added. So it's going to be Gronk and Vinatieri. And poor Mankins. Logan Mankins has dropped from, he was 1 to now he's like 4th. So I'm a Julian Edelman fan. I think he's the Pro Football Hall of Famer, and I argued with Ron Borges, who does not believe that. But I'm going to go all out for that eventually. But I wanted Vinatieri. I think he was part of a big part of history. I remember he was here in '96. He was a rookie. It would have been perfect if he went in with Parcells, who's going in as a contributor. And as you know, Pete, I was a big proponent of Parcells for the last 5 years on the committee. So I'm not upset. I wanted Vinatieri, Julian Edelman, more than deserving, and I'm not upset with it. Vinatieri's going to get in.
All right, the Red Sox have lost 6 out of 7. They lose 6-1 last night. Giolito did not look good at all. I thought Giolito looked pretty good in his opener since he hadn't pitched so much, but I don't like the way this is going here right now. Look, they've been lucky the Yankees have been losing. Otherwise, they could be down 4 or 5 games already. But the Yankees have been losing. They won last night, the Yankees did. But Yankees and Toronto have been sort of losing. The series against Minnesota, losing that to that pathetic team is inexcusable. The way that went down yesterday was very frustrating, despite the rain. I hope you didn't have to sit there through that. But Alex Cora doesn't seem concerned. The first base scenario, I agree with Lou Maloney and others. I think put Rafi Devers at first base and bring up Roman Anthony and put him at DH. And I don't know why Alex Cora won't entertain that.
Yeah, I listen, you're on the team. I need you to play here, and that's where you're going to play. He still has like 10 years left in his contract here. We got to deal with this kind of stuff. So this is like, let's get this out in the plate. We need you to play first. I know we had you at DH. We want you to go over and take some grounders. That's what you do. Especially when you're the quote unquote highest paid guy on the team and quote unquote a leader, allegedly. So that's what you go over there. You do what the team needs. And if he can ever play first, that's a huge scenario, huge. But listen, Pete. There's the one issue, and this happens a lot. They brought in a lot of guys this year, and that takes time. As far as the pitching staff, and so my point is, I'm going to give that a little time. The lineup figuring itself out. The pitching staff. My one concern was, I think, Pete, I did a story when the season opened. Out of the 13 pitchers or 14 pitchers on the staff, 10 of them had Tommy John surgery, and
Yeah.
So, which means you got to be delicate with the guys. You can't pitch them. You can't pitch them back-to-back days. Like Garrett Whitlock. You got to give guys special breaks. The starters can go 5 innings. I mean, Giuliotto here looked really good first start, but then went 1 inning too long and ended up blowing a 6-run lead. And I would have pulled him. I after 5 innings, what he had done last week, and I think he leaves the game thinking, "Wow, I'm sort of coming back here. I'm a little ahead of where I thought I was." I mean, we got to give him time. He's been off He was almost 2 full years away from the game. So the Red Sox have several issues that they're still a pretty good team. The one thing they have going for them, Pete, is everyone's 19 and 18. The whole league, both leagues.
That's what I mean.
Everyone's 19
Exactly.
So they've the disappointing part is they played the White Sox, they played the Twins, and they didn't. They get their butts whipped by 2 of the worst.
They went 4-3 against the White Sox, and what are they 7-7 against both teams? Or I mean, they're just it's unbelievable. I know, that happens. I remember back in the day, Seattle, when they really sucked when they first came into the league, but they always beat the Yankees. It seemed like every single series, but disappointing.
I'm just giving the Red Sox, Pete, a little time. That's all. I'm just saying. But not a lot of time. This is like I wrote another part. This is Alex Cora's team. He got this team. He wanted this team. He got the players he wanted. He wanted Crochet. They got him. He wanted Bueller. They got him. And of course, the big one at the end there, they got Bregman. This is his team, and he's got to deal with the third baseman. If he can't win over Devers, that's on him. That's his job. He's in charge. He's basically, he's been here his whole career.
I don't know what's to win over. Hey, Rafi, you're going to first base. End of story. Start taking grounders. Here we go.
Right.
It's really simple. And I don't know.
We need you at first base. We need you at first base.
I didn't hear Breslow last night. I know he was on the rain delay part of Ness, and I didn't hear it. I don't know if you did. I'm sure it was brought up, right?
Yes. And he said the plan is no. He's our DH, and but I don't believe that. So I know they're saying it.
How about explore? We're going to explore every option, whatever it takes to make this team better. Right. I mean, it sounds like if he said that quickly, that's disappointing to me. That means they're not even maybe considering it, at least not now. Of course, I think they said the same thing about third base and back in the not too long ago in March too, or before Bregman got there. Devery's going to be. So I don't know, but that's disappointing. If that is the case, that they're not going to even entertain him being there because it's whatever best for the team. I don't get it.
Devers can play first base. I mean, it's easier than third base. Maybe he doesn't pick up a few scoops. All he's got to do is make the play. It's easier. You don't have to throw. Part of his problem is throwing. You don't throw the ball much other than throwing it to
underhand
tosses.
Underhand tosses to the pitcher.
It's an easy decision in my opinion. And hey, we didn't think this was going to go this way. We need you at first base. That's it. That's a discussion. But
no, there's no question about it. No question about it. All right, we'll see what happens. So you're headed to tonight. What's that traffic going to be like? Red Sox at 6:45.
Yes.
Celtics at 7. You better leave now, buddy.
It is. It was beautiful the other day. Believe it or not. Yeah, nothing.
The Red Sox had the day off on Monday. The Red Sox are off on Monday. Tonight, you got, maybe 35,000 there, another, and 19,000 at the Garden. That is going to be horrible.
Listen, for me, I drive down 93 and go the levered on ramp. That's the Fenway. That's where everyone goes to Fenway as well. So, and it's going to be it's a beautiful day right now. This is we're very lucky. This is like feels like what I see in your background. We're out, we're back in the 60s and 70s, and had a little rain, which it's been off and on here, but I got no complaints.
We finally got some rain down here. Yeah, we have had a massive drought down here. It's obviously the weather's beautiful, but when my backyard is everybody's backyard in Southwest Florida is straw, there's nothing you can do about it. And finally, we got couple thunderstorms yesterday and got some rain. But boy, that's going to be. I've seen the roads when both teams are playing at the same time. It's not good. It's not.
Pete, so Pete, one last thing before you go. When the Bruins got the 7th ball, I thought of you.
Yes.
So I quickly thought
I expected it. I expected it. That's the way the season is going.
It's been one of the worst years. It's really, to be honest with you, because they had 2 years ago, this is one of the best teams they've ever had, ever.
Yep.
And then they blow the first series.
Yep.
But this was really one of the ugliest, worst years for the Bruins, other than go back to Steve Casper, that one bad year. And, when they really didn't give him any players.
Yeah.
And they fired him in the middle of the season. And that was a horrific year. But I look at these teams, and the Bruins are so far. I watch the Caps. The Bruins are like 12 players away from a team like the Caps. It's amazing the difference.
Yeah, and the other thing, if it's too bad, Jim Montgomery and the Blues blew that 2-goal lead in the third, because I was talking to Mick and some other people about. We were this close, even though Las Vegas lost last night at home to Edmonton. Can you imagine how Bruins fans feel? It was Cassidy and Montgomery in the Western Conference Finals. Can you imagine? Unreal. All right, Bill. Thanks so much, and we'll look forward to your stuff in the Eagle Tribune. How's your son doing in the Yankees organization? What's
doing
the latest?
Good. He went back and forth, AA, AAA, back to AA, but he's playing well. We're in a really good place right now. So we just need bodies. There's a lot of bodies in the Yankees minor leagues, especially AAA. So, but he's had a nice run, nice start to the year. Very excited for him.
Excellent. All right, my friend. We'll talk soon. Thank you so much.
We'll talk later in the week. Take care, Pete.
Insight. Take care. Bill Burt, Lawrence Eagle Tribune. All right, Angel. We're going to take a quick break here, and then Bill Sparrows from the Boston Herald is going to join us here on the Pete Sheppard Show on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
Hey, everybody, it's Pete Sheppard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft, implement, and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them, sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check out my friend Lou DiMuzio and Ace Technology Advisors.
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I gotta tell you, I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me.
Me too, but I'm glad we are.
Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and life experiences come together through conversation, and it feels good.
Wow, your story is so...
Interesting?
Yeah.
When people actually sit down, talk, and listen to one another, they can break down boundaries and connect as human beings. At lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep, you can listen to amazing, life-changing conversations and find simple tools to start a conversation of your own.
I know one thing. This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope, too.
Take a step toward bringing our country and your community together by having the courage to start a conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Whoa! Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Woohoo! Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie. So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Don't spaz out because your team lost. Let Pete do it for you. Now, back to the Pete Sheppard Show.
Who? At his house. I talked to him. In pain, a lot of pain. It's been a challenge to sleep. For how bad it is, it was in the worst case scenario.
That's screwed that up. That's Alex Cora, Red Sox manager, on the update with Tristan Casas, and also it's about Rafi Devers. Let me just play the cut right here before Bill comes on.
Who? At his house. I talked to him today. In pain, a lot of pain. It's been a challenge to sleep, but for how bad it is, it wasn't the worst case scenario. That's what he expressed to me. That's what the doctor said. So, now it's just a matter. I think JJ and Brandon we're gonna go to clean up the stitches and all that stuff. And I don't know when we're gonna see him, but he's at the house. Yeah. No. Don't plan to? No.
All right, Alex Cora, no planning on putting Rafi Devers at first base. I don't understand it. All right, just like that, we welcome in our second guest of the morning here on the Pete Sheppard Show. Here on the I can't.
I'm not going to let Bill do this commercial unless I can be in it. I am bullying my way onto the set, Pete, in my official Dumb Kings attire.
Oh, I thought you're the new mascot for either Syracuse or Clemson. I don't know. That's what it looks like from here.
See, there's the D.
I can't. Okay, I see. I need my. You know what? Wait, for this, I need my. I got to see this. Oh, okay. I didn't realize. Maybe I should have. I didn't realize during the Super Bowl because I don't pay attention. I did pay attention to that commercial, but I forgot that she was. Did you know that she was in it back then?
Yes. I immediately recognized her standing in the background amongst perhaps the greatest NFL coach of all time in a series of very talented Hollywood actors and writers.
Yeah.
Ben Affleck's won an Academy Award. I believe his brother did too.
Casey, yes, yeah.
So you had some really talented people, very funny commercial, and then you had a talentless person who is having relations with someone 49
What'd
years.
she do? She just robbed her. She just went like she only had one little thing, right?
Yeah,
She
yeah. That well, it was hard, because
Yeah, it's very
they
hard.
said, okay, your line is and she kept flubbing her line, so they probably dubbed it. And Donnie Wahlberg showed up at the end. He probably was like, "Man, you Bill, you broke our heart." It's like I'm sure like Affleck and both at the Afflecks and Donnie Wahlberg were there, and God only knows what she was like off camera. And for them, it must have been like watching their like uncle or grandfather, just
Mhm.
sort of slip into the twilight of like senility and helplessness. You don't want to see you don't want to meet your heroes, right? Like, I don't want to meet Bill Belichick right now in this state. I'm sure for those guys, it was like a shock because, it wasn't really super public then when they filmed the ad. I mean, it was, but no one really knew all this. And given that she had to bully her way onto the set and bully her way into the commercial, it must have been a train wreck. I want that film. You know the old Ted Williams
The
Missing
outtakes.
Bread outtake film, right?
Yeah. Yes,
I
yes.
want that video. I want the outtakes of that commercial, like, out on the internet so I can watch it every day for the rest of my life.
Well, I would love that myself, and I would love the outtakes. I'm surprised from the CBS interview as well. Someday that's gonna come out.
Yes,
Somebody's
yes.
gonna
Time's the great tide, right?
Mhm.
And eventually the tide comes in and eventually it all comes out, right? I might not be around to see it, but it will come out eventually. And I'm really looking forward to it. But yeah, this is the official Jordan Hudson Dung Kings late birthday gift from my son. See, the back isn't this thing is incredible. It's really cool.
Wow.
So we got it nice and big and baggy, so I can look like
Well, you needed to dress like that last night at Fenway. Anybody who sat through 45 minutes of that and then to watch that bit of a debacle, it's up. But you needed an outfit like that tonight if you're sitting in the rain, right? It helps.
Yeah, well, and for the Celtics too, in case they soil themselves like they did the other night.
No, that's not going to happen. They soil themselves and still almost won a game. It's not. They get 32 uncontested threes. I'm not worried about them in the least bit. Not worried about it at all. Tatum will go off for 30 tonight. They'll be back.
Better.
And they will. That's the best that the Knicks can play, and that's probably one of the worst big chunks of the game the Celtics can play. It still went to overtime. They still had a chance to win it.
They didn't.
It is what it is. That's not going to happen again. Porzingis is back tonight. Hauser's out. It won't happen again. Tatum.
Well, that's good that the two playoff runs that the Celtics have suffered in this series on the negative end were both triggered by turnovers from Jason Tatum trying to pass to Sam Hauser. I think that should be outlawed. I think the state legislature and the governor should have passed an emergency act that bans Jason Tatum from passing the ball to Sam Hauser because that triggered that run against Orlando. They lost that one game. It triggered the run. They were up 16 the other night, and he passed the ball to Sam Hauser, and then it all went down the tube. So I think that the next time Jason Tatum passes the ball to Sam Hauser, I think Bill Chisholm is going to trade him to Sacramento.
But then you look at what's going on with Cleveland. You look what's going on with OKC, the Minnesota Timberwolves. Everybody lost at home.
It's funny because it's been. I talked a little to the DraftKings people about this yesterday. I mentioned it in my Herald column today. This is kind of like the reverse of how it's been, right? In the NCAA tournament, we had all this chalk. You had 59 favorites won. And in the NFL this year, you had 70% of the favorites won, not covered, but won, which means the parlays all hit. This is sort of the reverse in the NBA in these playoffs. You're seeing all these favorites losing outright. So it just goes to show that eventually, like I noted in my column today, eventually the numbers even out. 3-pointers are betting, but the problem is what happens in the interim, right? Because if you pull back, it's a nice straight line, but if you look up close, it's always like this, right? And the problem is you never know where you are on the spectrum. So, the Celtics obviously have the game plan. They're not going to change it. It's gotten them as far as it's going to get them. It's going to ride them, whether they, win it or not. But they need their two best players to produce. They're not gonna beat real teams in the playoffs trying to rely on the bench. The bench will keep them in the bench could beat Orlando. The bench could beat, freaking San Antonio in the regular season, but it's not gonna carry you in the playoffs. It's gonna help you in the playoffs, but your 2 best guys have to produce. I mean, Tatum had 2 chances in 10 seconds. The last 10 seconds of that game the other night, he had the ball in his hands twice. He had 2 shots. He missed 2 shots in the last 10 seconds of regulation that could have won the game.
Yeah,
One of
and
them was
then at the end, frustrating when when Bridges gets the steal on Brown.
well, that's just Brown he's incapable of handling the ball. But I go back to the 2 chances Tatum had to win the game at the end of regulation. And he has to make those shots. That's what happens. That's how you win. Last year, Jaylen Brown made that shot against Indiana in game 1, and that series was over. This time, Jason Tatum had his wide open look. I know the second shot was contested, but if you want to be the greatest player, you got to make one of those shots.
Yeah,
he idolizes Kobe. He idolizes this guy. He idolizes that. Well, though Kobe makes that 3. Kobe doesn't miss that 3. If you want to be Kobe Bryant, you have to hit that 3-pointer with 9 seconds to play. And he didn't. So that's kind of where they're at.
Yeah. And again, I think you'll see him take the ball more to the hoop tonight. I don't think
He
there's
better.
any doubt about it. They will. And
I mean, that's
just missed 32 uncontested threes. That's what it was. 32 uncontested.
Well,
they make a couple of those. We're sitting there talking about they won ugly, but they won. And that's the best Knicks can play. It was a crappy game in the second half. You're up by 16 at the
David
half.
Tyree doesn't catch that ball. I got a whole room full of 19-0 swag. That's just it, though. The if doesn't count. And I hit on this again and today because it is very there's no real difference between analytic based decision making and gambling. It's all the same. You're taking previous outcomes and you're trying to extrapolate what is the mitigated risk for this same outcome to happen, whether it's a 3-pointer or the Celtics covering the 11-point line tonight. It's the same process. It's the same actual, mental decision making. It's what insurance companies have been doing for 1,000 years. It's all mitigated risk, and that that's why it's easy to understand this analytic mindset if you gamble because it's the same process, but the outcome is never guaranteed. And like you said, 35. I guarantee you the other night, the coaches kept saying, well, we missed 25 threes. We're going to get the next 8. We missed 26 threes. Well, the numbers say we're going to get 8 of the next 9. We missed 27 threes. Well, the numbers say we're going to get 7 of the next 5 or whatever. But it doesn't always happen that way.
Yep.
And to me, the other failure of the other night was their inability or unwillingness to adjust. When in that one instance, the numbers aren't working. Like you can look at a bet, and if you've watched enough games, no matter the sport, if it's football, for instance, you've seen enough football games where you have a wager, you're on one side, and it starts to fall apart, and you can kind of see what's going to happen ahead of time because of unique circumstances, and then maybe you hedge and you get out, at least with your money. And to me, the real genius isn't following a plan that was set by some guy with a PhD or that idiot from the Red Sox who told Jim Rice he couldn't hit. To me, the skill is to knowing when to make the adjustments. And that was, Belichick. That was his greatness, right?
And it's such a great point that you just brought up because it brings me back to the other game in Orlando. I can't remember if it was a closeout game, one of them, where the Celtics shot 0 for 6 from 3 in the first half. They only took 6. They were 0 for 6. And it didn't bother them because they were taking the ball to the hoop. Just adopt that mentality, and I'm sure they will. I don't think they're going to put up 45 threes tonight. I think it'll be a little less than that. I think they'll make a hell of a lot more than they made the other night, and there'll be a lot less misses. But I think what you saw in that Orlando game, where they started off 0 for 6 from 3 at halftime, and then, they still had the lead, and then you just take it to them in the second half. With Porzingis out there, like he's supposed to be there tonight, I expect him to have a big game. He did not look like himself. I don't know if he had a stomach ache or a virus, whatever illness they say, whatever that is. But he's coming back tonight. Hauser's the only one that isn't going to play.
Well, they don't need him shooting threes. They need him in the paint, cleaning house and drawing fouls and getting offensive rebounds. They had 50. I can't believe they had 59 rebounds the other night. I've never seen 59 more inconsequential rebounds than we saw the other night because they sure as hell couldn't get an offensive rebound in the second half. And that's really what they need from Porzingis tonight. They
Yeah.
want to do that hack or whatever with Luke Cornett. That's fine, but they need guys who can get rebounds on these missed threes in the fourth quarter and then just get easy putbacks. And Porzingis needs to be that guy. I hope he is. I think he is. He has been in the past. He wants to throw up his threes. That's fine. But man, when they're on defense, he better be in the paint.
Oh, he
cleaning bodies and
is.
grabbing
I
them.
mean, he's such a difference maker. I mean, he doesn't quit. I mean, there wasn't a problem playing defense the other night. It was a question of he just
He was sick.
You
He's
could
sick.
tell
He
he
was
was hurt.
sick, whatever.
Yeah. But all right, let's move on to the Red Sox. Last week we were talking about it, and thank goodness that the Yankees and the Blue Jays on the whole have been losing the last couple of, really the last 10 days. I know the Yankees won last night, but I'm not panicking or anything like that. But Giolito, all right, that's a bad start. I get it. I thought he looked good in his first start overall. Last night was terrible. I'm more concerned with Alex Cora and the absolute 100% dismissal about Rafi Devers not playing first base, bringing up Roman Anthony to DH. Is he afraid of Rafi Devers going to throw a tantrum? I mean, to me, this is the logical move. Sorry, whatever makes the team better. Get your sorry ass over to first base. That's what it's going to be. And we're going to call up the kid who's hitting like crazy in Worcester. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to try it anyway. So start taking grounders. But no, he's completely dismissing it. I'm angry about it.
That's a tough one because, I'm trying to look at this from their perspective. It's clear Devers doesn't want to play first. And I get the, screw him. He should, but his argument is I've already done this once. If he hadn't, if this was like the start of the year and they said, okay, we don't want you to play third, we want you to play first, I would say play first or shut up. And his defense, he's already sort of made that one switch. And, he's, being a DH is still a job. And he's sort of, it is a challenge to ask him to do this after he had already given.
Why is it such a challenge? He's the highest paid player on the team. God damn it. Go play first base.
I
Learn how to
understand.
do it. Scott Hatteberg did it. You can play first base, Rafi. You're the highest paid player on the team. You do what the goddamn manager tells you to do, and that's it.
You have to treat everyone differently. You know this. And this guy, in this case, see, to me, the way I look at it is they were getting no production from first base. They could stick frickin' Bobby Dahlbeck at first base, and they would lose nothing defensively. And if he hit 210, it would be an upgrade. So if I'm the Red Sox, I'm looking at this and saying, okay, we got this guy's our key guy. I want to do whatever I can to get the most production out of my best player. And moving him to first might not necessarily be the best thing for the team. Because, what are you going to lose from this guy? Now, I get it. Yeah, he should do all that.
Can we try at least? Can we try and not be so utterly dismissive?
Well, I mean, the problem,
it's never going to ever happen.
The problem is even trying it, takes away from, what you're trying to get. They pay this guy to hit. And if it were my decision, I would focus 100% of his energy, time, mental focus on hitting and hitting better and making sure he's 100% at the plate to the best of his ability. Having already asked him to move off third base, you have to remember nothing's in a vacuum. And I've been critical of Cora about this in the past, but again, if you look at the big picture and you look at the fact that, their first baseman was hitting like 170, again, there's 50 guys they can bring in to play first base. Who aren't going to hit or hit better than the other guy. And I'm all for bringing up Roman Anthony. I don't understand why they haven't brought him up yet. But, I'm just looking at who they have now or who's available. And I'm more, I want Rafi Devers to, I would say, look, Rafi, go ahead. You better hit 370. If I'm going to take the heat on this one from the upstairs, which again, it's all about getting the most production out of your best players. So, it may sound convoluted or the fact that they're kissing his ass in a sense they are because they're paying him $30-odd million a year. But to me, I want to get the most production out of my best players. And if getting the most production, which again helps the team, what's best for the team, And the other thing too is there's a lot of players on this team who can't hit. I was looking at the averages last night. I couldn't freaking believe it.
Yeah.
Didn't have anyone in the bottom half of the order hitting over like 270.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I would everybody's like, oh, they should get this guy there. How about the fact that Trevor Story sucks? How about the fact that David Hamilton sucks? How about the fact that no one in the outfield is hitting now? None of them.
Yeah.
None of them are doing anything. They had Abreu had a nice start.
Yep.
They're all
in a big slump.
They're all hitting 240. They're leaving runners in scoring position. None of that has anything to do with Rafi Devers, except if he's the guy. And he's been raking lately. He's actually been playing well.
Yep.
Him and Bregman and the rest of the team blows. So, it's like you're worried about first base. I'm worried about shortstop. I'm worried about
relief pitching,
second base. And again, let's talk. Okay, you want to talk about the bullpen? Why the hell is he pulling these guys after 5 innings? You're paying Garrett Crochet. He's your freaking ace. He's your guy. You're taking him out in the 5th inning? You got to be kidding me. We're what, 40 games into the season, and he's already stretching the freaking bullpen. When Bayo or Crochet, when these guys, they get all these quality starts. What do they have, 5 or 6 quality starts?
Yeah, even Houck has been better lately too.
Because they're pulling these guys in the 5th inning. You got to make them pitch at least into the 7th. And, you have to push them, and they don't want to come out. None of these, it's not like Crochet saying I'm tapping out or Bayo. Let these guys stay in and trust in them, because your bullpen is not going to carry you for 162 games.
Bill, I say the same thing. I agree with you 180,000.2%. And I keep hearing the late, great Dick Raditz and all the shows we got to do together. And that was his biggest pet peeve. You got to pitch. You got to be able to. Even Pedro used to say it too.
Of course.
You got to pitch. You got to pitch. You cannot baby these guys. I don't know where this mentality, how it started, who started it, analytic, whatever it is, that all of a sudden 100 pitches is like, through 5 innings seems to be everybody's limit. But stop it. And I know guys like Louis Tiant threw over 200 pitches in some games, and at 153, I think, a game 4 of the World Series back. And okay, maybe he's not 153, but God Almighty, stop babying these guys.
Let's just go back to 2004. They had the 5 starters never missed a start.
Yeah,
most incredible stat ever. Derek Lowe.
Yep.
Was Derek Lowe ever on a pitch count? Was Schilling on a pitch count? Was Pedro on a pitch count?
No.
Certainly Wakefield was never on a pitch count.
Nope.
So we don't, we can go back 20 years. And how many times did Derek Lowe pitch into the 6th and 7th inning, or Schilling when they were on fumes? So, I think Garrett Crochet could pitch into the 6th or 7th. I don't think he's going to kill you. And if he does, you're screwed. Okay, that's the other thing. You can't say, oh, well, he might do this, he might do that. If this guy can't give you 6 1/3 every time he goes out there, you're not going to win anything. You're going to get destroyed in the playoffs. You're going to get swept.
Absolutely.
Swept. So you have to trust this guy into the 7th. You have to trust Bayo into the 7th. I don't know. Giolito's ERA is like 15 or something.
Yeah, well, 10 hits and 3 2/3 yesterday, what he did. And it was an off, because I thought the first game he came back, since he had seen pitching in a long time. I thought he looked reasonably pretty good. Last night was just, he said it wasn't the weather. Sometimes, I don't know, 45-minute rain delay. He said it wasn't it. He said he's pitched better actually after or during the rain than that. But anyway, 3 2/3, 10 hits, 6 earned runs, walk 1, struck out 2. The guy in the pitching staff that concerns me right now is Whitlock.
Yeah, he's blown 2 leads. I don't know, but again, to me, why is he even in? Why is he pitching? Why do you take out Garrett Crochet and bring in Whitlock? Yeah. Why do you do that?
I don't know.
It's like this. It's the same principle of Jason Tatum passing an open shot to Sam Hauser. It's like you have someone who's really good, and then you replace him with someone who sucks. And it doesn't make any sense.
Last couple of things here. Did you see the fan, a.k.a. John Doe, who was suing the National Football League for $100 million because he's in emotional distress and trauma because of the Shadur Sanders draft slide, and then he had 4 demands afterwards as well, besides wanting the $100 million. First of all, what kind of an attorney would take this case? Secondly, does it even see the light of day in a courtroom? Well, you have to pass summary judgment. I mean, does it even make it that far? I mean, is this not a waste of taxpayers' money?
Well, he paid the filing fee, so actually the taxpayers probably
Yeah,
made,
that's true.
made
But if it gets to court,
yeah, the taxpayers made $400 on the filing fee. I don't know where this case was filed, but
Cleveland, I think.
No, I hate this story. I hate this because if he indeed had an attorney do this, the attorney is just doing it. You know, people need to understand there are a lot of attorneys out there who don't have
ambulance chasers.
No. They have like no money.
Oh,
so
yeah.
there are
Yeah.
a lot of attorneys who are willing to do anything because they have no money. So the attorney who did this was doing it for publicity. No, this isn't even a real thing. It's a joke. No court is, no judge is going to waste their time when they've got a million real things to do. It's just a publicity stunt. And I hate the fact that media outlets cover it. I hate the fact that people are talking about it. It's nothing. It's a nothing burger. It's fake. It's just like a stunt. And I hate it.
But agree. I mean, I talk about it because I make fun of it, especially the four demands. I mean, I agree with 100%.
I'd rather make fun of John Henry.
Where is he, by the way? Does anybody know?
He's back in the cryotron. He's still hanging out. He got to go hang out with Ted about 4 or 5 days a month just to refresh.
Before we let you go, anything, Bill Sparrow's joining me, great columnist for the Boston Herald and senior betting analyst at bookies.com. Latest on the gambling world.
Oh, boy. Well, it's funny. I was in New York last week meeting with the commissioners of baseball, and I talked a lot about gambling, obviously, with them and asked them a lot of questions. Yeah, there's actually a lot going on macro-wise. The emergence of these trading markets, namely Kalshi, where anyone in the United States can legally trade on any outcome, at least for now. Right now, there's a massive legal battle brewing, and you have all of the you have the NBA and the Major League Baseball and the NFL and all the states that have sports betting are on one side of the ledger. Then on the other side, you have the trading markets who are claiming that we are protected or we're granted this right by the federal government. So we're offering our services in all these states, even though several states have issued cease and desist orders. So this case is going to end up in the courts because there is a real issue here as to whether or not if I go on a website legally and I trade on the fact that I think the Celtics going to beat the Knicks and I, buy a share for 80 cents and I win 20 cents. Is that sports betting or not? Now, I think a court is eventually going to decide that it is. I think the problem is when these trading markets were taking trades on things that weren't allowed in sports betting, like politics and stuff, it was fine. But then they realized that they're missing out on sports and they're doing this because no one's telling them they can't. And I think what's going to happen is you're going to eventually have a case where all the states get together or a bunch of states get together that have sports betting and saying that, the Supreme Court said that we got to manage sports betting. You've already decided that we manage sports betting. And then this outlet is coming in claiming the federal government is allowing them to offer sports betting. They're going to say, A, this isn't sports betting, which is a joke. And B, we're different. And a court's going to have to decide that because there's too much. These states are, the sports books are going to lose money. People don't care about that. These states are going to start to lose money because none of this stuff is taxed. None of this stuff is regulated. The leagues are terrified because, fill in the blank NBA player can go onto Kalshi and bet $2 million in cryptocurrency that his team is going to lose tonight. Mm-hmm. And then he could go out and miss 45 three-pointers.
Yeah.
So you don't know what the hell's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So that is that's a big time, like big time issue that's coming. And a side note, Florida killed a bill that would have outlawed sweepstakes, sports books. They wanted to outlaw those, which other states have. I think the problem, this particular bill in Florida went a bit too far. in terms of other things. I think Louisiana just passed a bill that outlawed sweepstakes sites. And I think if a lot of states are having, they're going to need another bite at the apple. We're going to have sports betting launching in Missouri this fall. They're going to legalize it in, of all places, Hawaii, which was a surprise. Otherwise, you have a lot of state legislatures that are just finally wrapping up, and there's been a big push to raise the tax rate in a lot of states like Massachusetts, which isn't going to happen. I don't think any of these states, maybe North Carolina might raise its tax rate. But again, that's the money that the sports books pay. It's not really going to affect you or me, in terms of what we win or lose. So there's a whole bunch of stuff going on, kind of outside the betting space. The big news in the betting space is the fact that all these underdogs are winning in the NBA playoffs.
Yeah.
Which
For
means
now,
they're making up a lot of the money they lost during the NCAA tournament.
Last thing, a little disappointing. I didn't realize that Hard Rock app down here in Florida didn't have any. You couldn't bet on the Kentucky Derby down here. I'm not saying you have to go through every pari-mutuel thing. I just thought I don't know the logistics. I know you do. So no horse betting at all.
There is horse betting in Florida. Okay, if you want to, here's the deal with horse racing in Florida. It really depends on what app you use. For instance, if you have FanDuel and you're in the state of Florida, you can bet on horse racing via the FanDuel app in the state of Florida. You cannot bet on sports via the FanDuel app, but FanDuel has integrated pari-mutuel wagering into its sports app. DraftKings, on the other hand, has a separate app for that. It's called DK Horse. So it's a separate entity. It's just branded through DraftKings. So there are a lot of ways legally to wager on the Kentucky Derby online. You can do it through TwinSpires. You can do it through FanDuel. You can do it through DraftKings. Hard Rock does not offer pari-mutuel betting, but there are many, many outlets. If you want to bet the Preakness online in Florida, you can do it. Like I said, DK Horse. Pretty much any app will have they have separate apps for horse racing. Because I think FanDuel is the only one that's integrated the horse racing into the app, but there's also TwinSpires, which operates in Florida as well. Again, this is pari-mutuel betting. They've had, off track betting in Florida.
They do a great job too. My buddy Gus Alonso works for them. I had him on last week. He's a great horse handicapper, and he works for them as well. So yeah, he told me about it.
So if you're in Florida, or frankly, any state that doesn't have sports betting, I mean, some states don't have betting, like Georgia and Texas, and we've talked about that. But if you're in Florida or in New England, you can bet on the Preakness or any horse race you want online. And really, there's multiple apps that allow that, but they're just not your traditional sports betting apps, save for the case of FanDuel, and you'll see a little horsey on that site, and you'll be allowed to bet. Now, you might have to, I think you have to establish a separate account, I believe. And like if you bet DK Horse, none of it links to your regular DraftKings account. Again, it's a separate entity, but they offer those services. So there's plenty of opportunities.
I wish I knew that because I have FanDuel, and I have FanDuel and DraftKings, for fantasy football stuff, and that I do just once.
I'm here every week, Pete.
All right. You're awesome.
All I have to do is ask.
No question. There's no doubt about it. Bill, thank you so much. I retweeted your column from today.
Peace out from Kings. Now make sure you get my good side. Get my good side, Pete. I don't know. I'm
going to give the Syracuse Orange Man mascot
I didn't eat for a week before this commercial, and I threw up the Tic Tac that Bill gave me because my breath smelled like someone who hadn't eaten in 2 weeks. And then I'm going to throw up I threw up the Lifesaver that Ben Affleck gave me. And Casey Affleck gave me a Munchkin, and I had to throw that up too because I weigh 14 pounds.
Oh, man, you're too much. All right, buddy. All the best. Have a great rest of your week. We'll talk next week. Thanks so much. There he goes. Angel, I was going to take a break, but I'm not going to because Mia's going to join us by phone in a bit. And Angela, if you don't mind, before she gets on, because this has to do with the Jaguars, if we could scroll down, that's only it's right under the two down under Cameron Wolf, talking about Jaguars two-way star Travis Hunter. This is from the right there. This is from NFL Network.
Well, Tom, I spoke to a Jaguars coach today, and he said that when we interviewed Travis Hunter, we knew right away he was a culture builder on and off the field. And so that is the element, the energy they're going to want to see the first weekend for him, a rookie minicamp. They won't do a lot of install, but you'll see a lot of Travis Hunter on the field. And one thing that was reiterated to me this week is that Travis Hunter will start off as a wide receiver first. He's going to get most of his time at wide receiver and then learn defensive back as the summer goes along. It was expressed to me as he'll major in offense and minor in defense, but eventually they want him to be a double major in both offense and defense like he did at Colorado. And that is a great reference because from what I'm told, Travis Hunter will walk his graduation stage on Thursday at Colorado. Friday, he'll hit to Jacksonville, where he'll have rookie minicamp. And Saturday, fans are invited to show up and see the number 2 overall pick, two-way star Travis Hunter on the field. He'll be mostly doing work on the offensive side of the ball. They love his ball skills and how he can impact the game more on that level. But maybe they can convince Liam Cohen to have a play or two on defense. Wouldn't it be cool to see him catch a touchdown from Trevor Lawrence, but also get a chance to pick him off in practice as well? Fans will get a chance to get those tickets potentially tomorrow for that Saturday minicamp in Duval.
Yeah, well, that's going to be interesting. Mia's going to join us in just a minute or so here, hopefully, on the Pete Sheppard Show on the Coastal Sports Network. She covers not only the Jaguars, but the NFL, does an unbelievable job. So we're cruising right along here for a hump day Wednesday, 9:05 here on the in Southwest Florida, 77 degrees so far, and looks like another beautiful day, but we could get some showers this afternoon. More showers. I think we're going to get some spot showers. I think you guys are going to get some too today as well. But
the central part of the state will. We won't, but it'd be nice. So we definitely could use it. But then the landscapers, I'm pretty sure, laugh for our lawns. Like, what do you guys want me to do? Cut your brown?
We talked yesterday a little bit before Mia comes on about Sharon Moore, head coach of the Michigan Wolverines, who's going to take a self-induced 2-game suspension. Not the first 2 games of the season against New Mexico and at Oklahoma, where he played guard back in the day. But he's going to be, in fact, that's Mia right now, against Central Michigan and Nebraska. But we'll get to that a little bit.
Got Mia on the line. Give me a second so I can flip this over so everybody can hear Mia. All right, Mia, hello. How are you?
All right, Mia.
I am good.
Well, I just played a little clip from the NFL Network about Travis Hunter and Cameron Wolfhead and everything else. I haven't got to talk to you since the draft. I won't keep you too long because I know you're busy. But draft night, what was going through your – I mean, right out of the gate. We haven't talked in a couple of weeks, so I don't mean to go back down memory lane, but I was thinking of you the whole way. I think I texted you an OMG, and you were busy. But what was going through your head when that happened? Did you hear anything about that before it happened?
Yeah, so I believe that my spidey senses were simply kismet, if I could take a line from the name of Shad Khan, the owner of the Jaguars yacht. That Monday, I came home from the gym and just like in reflecting upon it, just thinking about it, I actually said to my boyfriend, I was like, can we just trade all the picks for Travis Hunter? Because I know he's the number 1 player on their board. They're in love with the kid. At least you guarantee yourself a blue chip player at not 1, but 2 premier positions. And as a lifelong Jaguar fan, he was like, no, we need to accumulate more picks. Like, no, that's suicide. Why would you do that? And then as the day progressed and you started hearing some rumblings, of course, this notion of we're going to be bold, we're going to do something bold. And so many people thought, okay, and certainly there was some intel of potentially picking up the phone and discussing with Ryan Poles about moving back to 10 because they were so interested in Ashton Genty, and maybe the Jaguars then packaged those picks to move back up into the first round to come away with 2 first-rounders. They had immense respect for Emeka Egbuka, the wide receiver out of Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
When Liam Cohen and James Gladstone walked into the media room, that was as the Bucs were selecting Egbuka with 19, and you could see the look on their faces where you could tell, number one, they were almost horror-stricken, but also relieved that they came away with Travis Hunter, because if that other plan was to have actually been a reality, oh my God, he went off the board at 19. And so it all but justified the actions that were taken. But to your earlier question, yes, I had spidey senses about it for whatever the reason, but I think that's just that's independent of the move that James Gladstone had concocted and the agreement with Andrew Berry that was in place for 17 days. It was probably about Monday or Tuesday night when Ian Rappaport reported it. And from my reporting, hearing that some sort of move, which again, if it wasn't a move back to 10, the only logical bold move would be to move up. And knowing the New York Giants were not coming off of number 3, I had on good intel for months that the Titans were not coming off of number 1 and they were not coming off of Cam Ward. And so I started to connect the pieces, and it was probably when I got a phone call while I was covering the draft for 1010 at the Jaguars draft party around 4 o'clock. That was when I got a phone call about some of the moves that the Jaguars were exploring. And I said to this individual, I was like, so you think 2's in place? And that person said, so long as Cam Ward goes 1. And I knew from my reporting that was a reality. And so as I was driving, I've described it for people as I was driving from the Lemon Bar in Neptune Beach back to the Miller Electric Center to continue our coverage of the draft. I probably kind of looked like the Pursuit of Happiness, like when he's walking down the street, and it's like this realization that I said it on Sirius XM radio, and it still holds true. The only other time that in covering this team I've felt that was when Frank Gore ran for that first down for the New York Jets against the Los Angeles Rams, assuring the Jaguars the right to select Trevor Lawrence with the number 1 overall pick. It was similar vibes to that, of this like internal realization of, oh my God, they are actually going to do this, and they're going to come away with the one guaranteed blue chip player at 2 premier positions in the class.
How much does it affect season ticket purchases immediately, if you know anything about that?
Yeah, I don't have the exact number. I can just tell you that Travis Hunter's jersey was the number 1 selling jersey of any rookie so far up to this point.
Yep.
I think that what's going to be interesting, Pete, is like and I've discussed this with a lot of people both in the organization and outside of it. It's going to be fascinating for people in Jacksonville to realize that they don't have to market this kid. Like, rookie minicamp is this weekend, and like the big push is come out to rookie minicamp and see Travis Hunter for the first time. Like, you don't have like that. I respect obviously the marketing team for the Jaguars, and I respect why they're doing that. But like, you don't have to do that. You don't have to design TikTok dances for him. He's gonna do that anyways. He has a media team that's following him around at all times. They were here when he flew in after he was drafted, and it's not overbearing. It's just reality. His video of his Welcome to Jacksonville vlog had over 1 million views within less than 24 hours after it was posted. We haven't had a 1 million view video at 1010XL. The Jaguars in-house team hasn't had a million click video. Yeah. Like that's why for me, like it's just like you have to just let him be him. And by being him, and it's ironic given all the lines and the quote unquote cliches that James Gladstone has said over the last month, by being his authentic self, he is going to raise the profile of this entire organization.
I worry about him getting injured. Not talking about playing both ways, but signing all the autographs and getting carpal tunnel syndrome at minicamp this week. I mean, he's going to sign like 5,000 freaking footballs, right? I mean, he seems like the type of guy you're going to have to drag him away from some signing stuff with the fans. He just seems like a real genuine guy that's going to be like that on and off the field.
Caitlin Clark hasn't started getting carpal tunnel yet, so I think Travis will be okay. That's what I tell myself.
That's great. It's all right. So let's obviously, I'm sure in his heart, and he wants to play 125, 130 snaps. Not going to happen. Obviously, I think they're going to, from what I understand, they're going to start with him as a wide receiver and then work him into doing some cornerbacks and some defensive back situations. 70-30 maybe, and I think as the season goes on, that'll lessen because one way or the other. Because you can't play. You can't play, that 100 plus snaps in the NFL like that. It's not going to happen. But how do you think they're going to integrate him both offensively and defensively? You think offensive first, then defense? And to start the season, maybe what? I'm thinking 70-30 offensive, at least to start the first 4 games, maybe?
Yeah, that's a good number. The Jaguars did not draft another wide receiver. Obviously, they added 2 running backs, and certainly they added De'Ami Brown in pro free agency. And so I think that while, yes, that room has plenty of bodies and guys who have pelts on the wall, there's no doubt that if Travis Hunter is who they believe he is, he's their number 2 wide receiver day one. I think having De'Ami Brown, certainly Gabe Davis is still here in Jacksonville. He was once upon a time the number 2 for Josh Allen in Buffalo. I think having those 2 veterans helps because it does create a glide path for Travis. I think 70-30 is a really good number, Pete. I would stick with that. They're going to start him on offense because they believe that's the area of his game that needs the most refinement. And defensive back comes easy to him. You can just throw him out there and he just knows what to do. And it's more so, and the comp has been Chad Johnson, and this idea of he's a freak athlete who knows how to find the soft spots in the zone, and he's going to find a way to get open with elite speed and beat defensive backs one-on-one. But in terms of his route running, it can use a little more nuance, and that's perhaps why the Jaguars are going to start him there. I do agree that he did have some soft tissue injuries during his time at Colorado. He fought through a lot of them. I'd expect him to fight through them in the NFL too. No question about that. But yes, the Jaguars have continued to say that as soon as this idea popped into James Gladstone's head about a month ago, much like it popped into mine, of why don't we just go get Travis Hunter? They immediately went to the strength and conditioning team. They went to the medical team, and they said, we need to come up with a plan of if we are to pull this off, what would the vision be for how we acclimate him to the National Football League? Now, I've been asking my producer, maybe you guys have a contact, like Joel Klatt has been going, I want to have him on Helmets and Heels because he has been like going on every national program, and he keeps saying, and he knows Colorado better than anybody in national media, he keeps saying he's going to find a way to play 120 snaps. And this is going to be a reality. And I trust Joel Klatt. He's covered enough of Travis Hunter's games that I would like to believe he knows the kid as well as anyone. And while I think the Jaguars will gradually get him to that point if he's ever to reach it, I do think that he has that intangible spirit that he's going to at least want to try to eventually get to that mark.
I agree with you 100%. I think he wants to try to get to that mark, but it's a lot of risk. In the National Football League is not the Big 12. It's not college football. It is. But I agree with you about Platt. I mean, I think he's going to want to try Travis Hunter. But see, I keep thinking Mia had my Patriots not lost a beaten Buffalo with Joe Milton, who turned out to be I don't want to say it, and they traded him to Dallas, then I would be talking about Travis Hunter. I'm fine with the draft that the Patriots had, no doubt. But it's so crazy how you go back to a play like that. Joe Milton playing at the end of the season. Buffalo didn't try to win. The Patriots shouldn't have tried to win, but they did. And so you guys get Travis Hunter, and we get Al. I mean, I'm glad with the picks that we got. But it's just so the NFL is just so crazy that way. It really is.
Well, people forget if the Jaguars hadn't beaten the Titans twice, they would be selecting number 1 overall for the 3rd time in 6 years. And they could have gotten Travis Hunter without even having to give up other capital and next year's first, let alone this year's second.
Last thing, Mia, as far as the Jaguars are concerned, Trevor Lawrence is going to be ecstatic, right? Now, from maybe this is unfair to ask, percentage of pressure, where does it start? Ownership, coaching, Lawrence?
I'd say Lawrence is number 1.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, ownership, can you really be, if you already own the team, it's not like the NFL is going to take your team away. I don't think that unless you say something out of pocket, that doesn't really happen. I think ownership always feels pressure because that's just Shad Khan. He's a very proud man, and he knows the reality of he swung and missed on Urban Meyer, and he thought he got it right with Doug Peterson, and then Doug, quite frankly, got bored and checked out, and he allowed for Trent Baalke to start little fires everywhere and then refused to get rid of him. And so I even then, I think that that's an internal pressure. I think that the coaching staff, it's interesting. I would say the obvious is, well, they have a longer leash because they're all brand new and it's their first time doing this, and I would agree with that. But I think that there's a sense, certainly, Liam Cohen wouldn't have taken this job if he didn't believe he could get the most out of Trevor Lawrence. Mm-hmm. And if they don't, then it's probably on Trevor. It's not on the coaching staff at that point, because then that's his 3rd coach in 6 years or whatever it is. And at some point in time, you have to look around and say, what are we doing here? I think that the point that many Jaguar fans have made, which is absolutely valid, is this idea of until last year, like you had Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram and Zay Jones, who are all good players in the National Football League and all enjoyed career years playing with Trevor Lawrence. But he has never, outside of 9 games with Brian Thomas Jr. last year, who in the first 4 of them was barely playing and was still getting his sea legs under him in the National Football League, he has never had a bona fide, hey, this is a top 10 wide receiver, this is a top 10 tight end, outside of perhaps Ingram. And that is where I think a lot of folks believe there will be a longer leash too, because you had Brian Thomas Jr. Travis Hunter is going to be attempting to play both ways. He's a rookie. There's always a learning curve. I don't care what your name is or how many trophies you won in college. And then this idea of, would the Jaguars add an additional piece going into 2026 to create a triumvirate at the wide receiver, or in addition to the tight end position, running back, et cetera. So I think, the pressure obviously is on Trevor at this point. He doesn't feel it, though. I mean, he feels it, but it's not like, oh, my God, I have to perform or else, like, I'm getting shipped out of town. For years, let's be real, this is a guy who's had a bullet on his back, or a target on his back since he was 15 years old.
Mm-hmm.
This is a reality. He understands it. He's not shying away from it. I think that the point, though, that so many have lost, the part of the plot that people have lost, is when you go back to the 2019 National Championship Clemson team. Yes, they had Trevor Lawrence, the prince who was promised, the true freshman quarterback who won the starting job through midseason. Yes, they had 2 very, very skilled ex-wide receivers who could stretch the field in Justin Ross and T. Higgins. Yes, they had the ACC's all-time leading rusher in Travis Etienne. I would, honestly, though, earmark Etienne's presence on that team as well as 4 future NFL defensive linemen, 3 of whom went in the first round of that 2019 NFL draft, and Cleveland Farrell, Dexter Lawrence, and Christian Wilkins, ever heard of him, who were also the 3 undisputed leaders that Trevor has been so vocal about, how he was like this young pup, and those 3 guys used to give him crap all the time, but they would be those alphas in the locker room. Trevor Lawrence can be a top 5, top 10 quarterback in the National Football League. Like every quarterback not named Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes and maybe Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson to an extent, he also needs to have a capable run game and a capable defense. And that's okay, because Justin Herbert has proved that he needs to have those other elements of the game. Jared Goff, Jalen Hurts, you go on down the line. They need to have those other elements and facets of the game performing at an above average level in order to reach their full potential. And it's okay to say that and still say he's a top 5, top 10 quarterback.
Mia, you're the best. What do you got going on today? What's going on outside of 1010 XL with you and Helmets and Heels, play-by-play stuff?
Yeah, today is a manager day. We got a lot of meetings today, kind of going over all of our draft coverage from the draft season that was, and some other projects that we have in the works. Of course, the Women's Basketball Podcast rolls on the OG Triangle Media Sports Network on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. We just dropped our first, I don't want to say WNBA-centric episode, because we did do a preview pod. Make sure you check that out ahead of the regular season tipping off next week. But certainly breaking down some of the biggest storylines in women's basketball, both in the W as well as in the college space. The drama at Notre Dame, it's very rich. And I will leave you with this, Pete. My mom was like, okay, give me the Spark Notes version. Like, what's up with Olivia Miles and Hannah Hidalgo? And I give her the Cliff Notes, the Spark Notes. And her response was, well, they're both from New Jersey, right? And I said, yeah. And she goes, okay. So they're just two Jersey girls being catty with each other because they both are alphas. And I was like, yeah, I'm glad you see it that way as a fellow Jersey girl. So not to spoil the pod or anything like that, but yeah, a lot of drama going on, and of course the W reaching heights that has not previously been seen, and I'm blessed to get an opportunity to talk about it with my friend Mitch Northam of SB Nation every week.
That's awesome. I just retweeted the part of the podcast that you're talking about with Notre Dame and the basketball program there. So that's great stuff. Thank you so much, Mia. All the best. Safe travels, and we'll talk soon.
Absolutely. Take care, guys.
All righty. There she is, Mia O'Brien from 1010 XL here on the Coastal Sports Network. All right, Angel, before we go, I do want to play one more. I'm going to have to refresh my my Twitter. This is Dan Orlovsky, the big trade today. And on paper, it looks good for the Cowboys on paper. I don't care. I've seen things look good on paper for the Cowboys before. But Dan Orlovsky reacts to the trade. Again, in case you missed it, the Steelers receive 2026 third-round pick and a 2027 fifth-round pick. The Cowboys get wide receiver George Pickens and a 2026 sixth-round pick. And on Get Up this morning, Dan Orlovsky reacts to it.
What do you make of this trade from the Dallas side first, Dan?
Yeah, the move squarely puts the Cowboys as a playoff contending football team this coming season. I anticipate the Cowboys to be better than other people. And a couple months ago, Greeny, it was the Cowboys can be a playoff contender if two things happen. Number one, that Dak Prescott has to stay healthy. That hasn't been the case recently. And then two, they got to get a number two guy opposite CeeDee Lamb. George Pickens, in the chaos of the quarterback situation at Pittsburgh, averages like 15 yards a catch. So we're talking about adding that to a wide receiver opposite CeeDee Lamb that is going to get you about 100, 110 catches a season and push 1,500 plus yards. George Pickens, contract year. Yes, he's not a perfect type of player, but his ability to go down the field and make plays with an offensive line that I think is going to be one of the better ones in the NFL to back into the season. This squarely puts the Cowboys back into we are a playoff contending football team.
What do you make of this trade from the Dallas side first, Dan?
All right. So there you go. There you have it. And that's all well and good, except you still have Jerry Jones and you still have Pickens, who could be a disruptor. He could be a disruptor.
I'm not I'm not buying it. I'm just not.
Until I see it. Until I see it.
Because I already know Dak Prescott's going to come out. Give it about 24, 72 hours. We're going to win the Super Bowl. You said that last year when we got signed. How did that work out for you? I said, no, don't believe it.
Well, if he wants to say it, Michael will say it. So, yeah, it's all good on paper. It looks good. It looks like a formidable offense that they could throw out there. But I'll believe it when I see it. I still think they're the third best team in the division. Yep. So we shall see. Wait, Andrew, before we go, what else is going on today? Anything else on the network today? I know we got in the camp, we got a couple of other shows that are going to start sooner rather than later. But Rick says Cowboys are not a contender with Prescott, no matter who they get. Well, that's not necessarily true. Now, a contender to win the Super Bowl, they have a long way to go. Let's start them getting into the playoffs first, and then we can worry about that. But what's going on today on the network? Anything else or?
No, not much here on the network today. It is Wednesday, so nope. Just if you guys want to hear the audio video replay, it'll be available later on sr1029thegame.com as it is directly right above us. And by the way, Eagles fans, here is your note before the season starts. I hope you enjoyed the second Super Bowl ever for the city of Philadelphia. But Jalen is now married, and as history follows, any quarterback that's ever been married in the NFL, have they gone on to win another Super Bowl? No. So you're welcome.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Really?
Every quarterback that's gotten married in the NFL have never gone on to win another Super Bowl.
Really?
See, you didn't.
Well, how about Tom Brady married Giselle and they won a bunch?
Tom, okay. First of all, Tom is a major exception. Major exception.
What about Roger Staubach? What about Terry Bradshaw?
That's back in the day when people actually loved one another. And we're talking about these day and age when everything is mental this, mental that, and
Josh Allen doesn't win a Super Bowl.
No, he hasn't gotten married either yet. Not yet.
What about Patrick Mahomes? Didn't he win one after he got married?
Yeah, he did. But it's not really a marriage. It's more of a social media post.
All right, buddy. Thanks so much. Tomorrow looks like a Trevor Story, Mick Colaggio, John Meadapro will join me, but I'll get that all officialized and stamped and notarized. I get it all notarized. It's going to cost me $2.50. But I'll get back to you, Angel, later on today. So have a great and safe rest of your hump day. Send Angel and Angel. This is for you, Angel. Have a great and safe rest of your Wednesday, everybody. See you. I'm Pete. I'm back tomorrow at 7 a.m. on the Coastal Sports Network.